Hey guys, hi everybody. Hello, thank you guys so much for waiting. You guys are so kind. Cannot thank you enough. I am counting on my production crew to tell me, can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody see me okay? I can't tell because it doesn't tell me the number of people. Can you guys see me? You can? Okay, yay. Oh, good. Okay, I think I can see you guys. Can you see me? Like I'm waiting, I'm hoping the chat will tell me. Are you eating Chipotle? And you didn't get me any? Wow. Okay. Okay, Nash, I understand. Are you a chicken burrito girl? Are you a steak burrito girl? I feel like the burrito is kind of the best deal, right? Hey guys. Hi, Liza. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Cheney. Hi, Poe Grady. Hey guys. Hey, Stephanie. Hey. Okay. Look at that. And audio and visual is great. Yay, I love it. Okay, I see Rio in the chat. I'm going to pull her on stage in like 10 seconds. And that is perfect timing. Hey, Justin. Oh my gosh. Hi. I love seeing names I know. Hi, everybody calm down now. Hi, Nash. Okay. So, hi, DL. Hey, Lynn. Hey, hi, Keepa. Hey, Ramos. How are you? Hi. Okay, so wait a second. I can't see this name. Hold on a minute. Wait, it says show me. Oh, show me state. I see that in there. Okay. I'm like, I had to squint to read that one. Hey, Linz. Hi. Hi, Alva. Is it Alva? I'm like, me and my speed reading, we're getting somewhere. Hey, Tammy. Hi. Hi, Cleo. Is it Cleo? Hey, oh, all the way from Ireland. I love that. I was checking to see like where people were from and stuff. And I was like, that's so cool that we're like, meeting people around the world. I love it. So thank you guys for being patient. You guys are so sweet and kind. It is so appreciated. Okay, guys, we have some stuff to talk about for sure. As you guys know, today we're going to have our special co-pilot, Ms. Rio, with us again because, these attacks against Candace, we all know. We know what we're seeing. We know, that this disastrous PR strategy that Turning Point has been rolling out, this second and now third iteration of a PR strategy that does not seem to really make sense. Well, we think we kind of figured out what's going on. So today we're going to be talking about a couple things. First of all, excuse me, guys, the fact that Candace mentioned the term DARVO, I was like, did we read her mind or did she read ours? I'm so excited. So I was like, okay, this is literally what we were planning to talk about today. So let's talk about it. We really have to talk about it because it is absolutely so obvious what it is that they're trying to do. So let me grab my girl. One sec. Okay. There she is.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to see y'all again. How is everybody? It looks like we have Globetrotters in here. Not the Harlem Globetrotters, but we have somebody from England, someone from Mexico, but visiting in Texas for another week.
Is that Liza? Is that Liza who's her there's a grandbaby, I think. Is that right, Liza? I think so.
So the only socials I have are X and YouTube, actually. I'm really on the DL on everything else, but maybe we'll change that up.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yes, so she definitely is getting into the space of, socials and all that good stuff. So let's welcome her in because we need all the smart cookies we can get. Oh my gosh, Nash, how did I not realize that smart cookies? I think that's the community. I don't know. We're going to have to listen, guys. I love a nickname. So,
Australia.
Right?
What is up? Our little kangaroo in the house.
So today we're going to be talking about something that we think is really relevant right now. Candace brought it up. And so I was just telling them, I was like, I think that she read our mind or we read hers. I don't know which one it is, but either way, it's important for us to make sure that we're tracking along because we're staying 10 steps ahead of them anyway. And we don't want to let any of them get away with this, especially the way that they're treating Candace, unacceptable, right? So we wanted to talk about a little bit about what it is that we think that we're seeing and also why this is such a concern, especially considering that there's a chance that they might try to do this to Charlie's legacy too. And so getting everybody on the same page about like, why is it that they're doing this? Because, I know that we sometimes are just like, bang our heads against the wall saying to ourselves, so what is this about? What is this about? And it's ugly that they are daring to attack Candace, and they're starting to get ugly also toward Charlie. So we're like, no. Let's come on and talk at length about the fact that they are clearly thinking that their strategy is going to be meaningful in some way. So that was why we decided to talk about this topic today, because it really, really feels relevant.
It sure does. And yeah, it was funny. Funny's not the word for it, but yeah, I don't know if Candace read our mind or if we read hers. But the topic today is DARVO. So let us know in the chat if you are familiar with the with DARVO, the narcissistic, I guess, strategy that is known as DARVO. We're going to go through it.
Yeah. Well, because, guys, we realize that what we think that, we could be seeing is a emotional abuse, just like as a PR strategy.
Yeah, well, a manipulation tactic. And as we were preparing for this show today, we really saw that there are really, you could break it down by 3 different phases of PR that they've rolled out, whether they intended to or not. And I think that at first they were kind of hands off. They probably thought we were all going to go with the grieving widow and how dare anybody, attack her. That obviously did not work. And so as we were preparing, we really saw like 3 different phases, and we're going to go through that today. Worst tactic of all time. I know, gaslighting. Yeah. Oh, DARVO.
I was like, hey, yes, well, I get the feeling. So hold on, let me pull this up for a second.
Yeah, Justin.
Yeah, Jeannie, I totally understand. And you know what? Honestly, not being familiar with the term DARVO, that is a really good thing. It may be that you end up recognizing it once, we kind of talk about it, but it's really it's a strategy of manipulation, emotional abuse, and something that a lot of people that deal with narcissistic abuse tend to, unfortunately experience. So we're going to treat it sensitively, but we want to make sure that we are naming what it is that they're doing, because I really do think that information is going to be really, really helpful, so that when you guys are online, when, especially if you end up engaging with any of these crazy folks, at any point, that you can kind of recognize it. And sometimes that can be a helpful thing to have in your own life. I really, hope and pray that nobody has to be familiar with this, but we know that a lot of people are. So that was why we thought it was really important to, just have like that candid conversation about it. And also so that they'll stop doing it, because it generally seems once they notice that the public is onto them, they kind of, try to make an adjustment.
Which is why we think, too, that after they've run out of tactics and technique, we're going to address what we think that they're going to do next. And that is the second half of the title of the program, is a character assassination on Charlie, because he's not around to speak for himself.
That's right.
So, yeah, and I was looking in the chat. I know some of y'all are familiar with it. I am sorry that you have learned about it firsthand, but I'm also happy you're here. And somebody else said their puppy had DARVO. That's Parvo.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear about the dog. That's not a good, that's a tough one. And so I'm very sorry to hear that, but I hope that puppy is okay.
Well, gay stop. Probably not, but they're kind of at the end of their rope. So, Okay, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's see if I can move this up.
This girl, by the way, guys, was working so hard to actually find specific tweets, specific instances that really, I think, paint the picture of what it is that we're seeing and dealing with here. And honestly, it's like you can see it. That is the feeling that we kind of continually get. You can see what this nonsense is that they're up to. And so the more that we're just like, okay, this is what you're doing, it kind of feels like, you remember how for a week or two, they were trying to kind of pretend that folks had, like, that there was that situation coming off that cruise ship. Our impression is that it is something that they were planning to have. It's kind of a a strategy for manipulating the public. And because people called them on it so quickly, they abandoned it. So I'm really hoping that they will abandon trying to attack Candace, because that is ridiculous. It makes absolutely zero sense.
Hey,
So,
will you try to pull it up?
Yeah, here, I gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, look at that. Thank you for granting the permission. Okay, so does anybody recognize our little mascot here? If you do, you win.
I don't know if there's any South Park fans in the house. I'm like,
there are. Okay, so anyways, this is Cartman from South Park, one of my favorite shows, and this is his character, the Coon. If anybody has been keeping up, you will know that Blake Neff called Candace a coon 2 days ago, which he has not edited that tweet. So, yes, it is Cartman. Yes, it's the coon, as he says. He is like the vigilante of the night. Raccoon. Anyways, that was cute. Okay, so let's just kind of go through this. So, DARVO is a manipulation tactic. A conspiracy slop, yes. You will respect my authority. I love it. We do have some Cartman fans, South Park fans in the house. Anyways, ADHD much, right? I stopped mid-sentence. Okay, so DARVO is a manipulation tactic used by narcissists, psychopaths, sociopaths, to silence someone and then to shift the focus from the abuser, we'll call them that, or the perpetrator, from their actions when their mask is falling. That is essentially what we believe we are seeing with the collective like TPUSA orbit, and kind of flip it on the victim. And this, we've identified, obviously, that the attacks were directly on Candace, but now we have recognized that they're actually coming after the public too. So we have seen that transition. D stands for deny. So you'll recognize that by terms like that never happened. What are you talking about? Attack, things like you're crazy, you're misremembering things, and that is to discredit you. And then you're going to reverse victim and offender. So the victim and the offender will swap places. Blake's MO, I agree. And this is where they flip the script to play role as a victim. All right.
Well, and also those definitely, I saw in the chat, look at this. Hold on. Someone said Benny's eyebrows. Ben Shapiro eyebrows. Right? Oh my gosh.
It's a 2-for-1. It's a 2-for-1. We've got the king and Ben. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Well, honestly, if we did an impression of Ben Shapiro, then we would probably be accused of being anti-Semitic. So I heard somebody say that Ben Shapiro's voice is anti-Semitic. And I mean, those eyebrows, whether it's as the coon or as whatever it is that Ben's doing, it's ugly regardless. And so it's obvious too.
Right? He needs to trim those hedges for sure. So as we go through here, we are going to kind of identify some of the different tactics and methods that they're using. And DARVO is an overall scheme, but the way that it comes in is projection. And we all kind of know what this is. I'm laughing at the anti-Semitic voice. Projection is accusing someone else of your own shortcomings. Gaslighting, and that's to distort, the sense of reality. The smear campaign is really what we're seeing as the overarching theme, and that is to smear Candace's name. And we think that that is going to transition to Charlie soon because he's not here to speak for himself. Then things like, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I think that maybe the mic on is having a little bit of feedback, but it's all good. We soldier on. I was just going to mention that, if you guys are thinking about where you may have seen this, I usually think about a really, really challenging, like, divorce. That's a place where I think that a lot of times, even if you don't, fortunately, have your own experience with that situation, you can sometimes see this happening when a couple is breaking up. Maybe there's like a bad breakup, right? And so that projection and the gaslighting and the smear campaigns, especially when, like, think of when there's like a shared friend group, right? So if everybody's friends and then, you know, the couple breaks up, then how often is it that we see that people will try to, you know, negatively impact the other person's reputation amongst the friend group? And that kind of manipulation strategy, I mean, you know, whether it's warranted or not, but if we're thinking of this kind of through like the cynical lens of what we can see when people are being like really unhealthy with their behaviors, then you know, telling the other person's business to the friend group or to your family to try to make sure that that person is kind of like isolated or seen as a villain a little bit, projecting, being like, oh, they you know, never listened to me, or they were always lying. Well, you know, if you're a liar, you maybe will say that, right? And certainly gaslighting, which we definitely know is something that happens in these like emotionally abusive situations, happens all the time. So just if you want, like, kind of, I like to have like a little bit of a frame of reference. I don't know about you guys, but like, where have I actually seen this kind of taking place, right? That's somewhere where I think it comes up kind of a lot.
Yeah, that's a great add to it too. And it's a way to kind of expose the victim. And many times you don't realize that the smear campaign is taking place. It's often silent, like in relationships. But we've seen it play out in real time, which is such an interesting, different dynamic. You know, but it still falls into the category as a smear campaign. And it is certainly a way to like pit people against each other. And then the next one is baiting, which we've seen a lot of recently. And that's to get a certain reaction out of you to kind of like prove to others, like, I told you she was like this. We've seen it with them calling Candace a bee lately, a coon. And what was the other thing? There was a third thing that they've been calling her.
Well, I know that they've been using satanic and demonic, you know, which is, that's a fascinating one, you know what I mean? But regardless, we know that it's so untrue, and it's so obviously untrue that was what kind of started her and my conversation about this, guys, was the fact that we were like, this is so clearly, this makes absolutely zero sense. Why is it that they're doing this? And so that's something that when we're investigating a case, we always want to be keeping in mind. There is a reason for everything. There is a reason that all of these actions are taking place. And so the more that we can kind of work on figuring out and trying to kind of like see what it is that they're doing, then for us, that's really helpful. Also, because we do not want to let them attack Candace or to attack Charlie's memory. These are actually satanic and demonic things for them to be doing. So the more that we're like familiar with it, then I'm like, guys, you know what I'm going to do? Every time I see a mean tweet from one of these turning point guys, I'm just going to post a little picture of Cartman and be like, you know, and just be like, here you are, like, you know, because really, it's obvious. And once we kind of are all on the same page about it, then I think it's a good thing for sure.
Yeah. And the chat caught it. It was a soul sucking ghoul. That was recent. The ghoul. I forgot about that. And we were also preparing for today's show. And I personally think that they've been baiting her to react angrily like the angry Black woman. I think that's what they want to frame her as, personally.
Which is like super shocking to me, especially given the fact that, like, I mean, when we're thinking about individuals who actually would be in need of some compassion, some sympathy. I mean, clearly, I think that to most people with two eyes and a brain, you realize that Candace was very much emotionally impacted by the passing of Charlie. Hello, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you can't even imagine how much, right? Well, also, let's consider the fact that she is being attacked by very powerful individuals, including like the president. Like, this is crazy, right? She's being attacked personally. Oh, and by the way, she has 4 children and she is pregnant. So the idea that these attacks are taking place against the exact person who is the most deserving, in my opinion, of our compassion and sympathy, it's so gross that it's like, I don't even know all the way sometimes how to react to it, because I'm like, you're so disgusting. I mean, to be honest with you, my opinion, I'm going to just share with you guys. You guys know I don't talk about Erica that much because, you know, as a girl's girl, it pains me to say it, but she sucks. And to me, I'm like, Erica, you behave more like someone who is a divorcee than you do like a widow. So if you are asking who it is that deserves our sympathy and our compassion, well, I think that that answer is obvious. And just because they're doing this coordinated smear campaign does not mean that anyone is buying it. So
yeah, and I was watching the chat. Somebody said Candace knows that they are baiting her, and I have to hand it to her. She's very smart. She has an ability to hold her cards, but to also hold back. And it's impressive because she's pregnant with a boy, and we know that she gets a little crazy, which I love. And somebody was saying that Medea, I think, needs to be unleashed on Blake, which I love that idea. Medea is like my favorite. And then just to kind of wrap this up, the blame shifting, obviously we see that all the time. Circular arguments where it just goes around and around and never reaches anything, and the name calling. So I haven't seen Candace hang out a window. I don't even think she likes Charlie.
Did you guys see Dr. Scarica? Did you guys see that where she was leaning out the window?
That was hilarious.
That was so funny. I'm like, this is how these people need to be treated. We're not, no one in their right mind wants anything bad to happen to Erica Kirk. Everyone knows that. So, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in, coming up here, but the idea that they're trying to make it as though like the public is somehow, dangerous or some problem to Erica. It's like, no. We would like her to go home. And the best way to handle her is just being like, look how hilarious it is. And when I see her, I just picture Drewski and I just picture Dr. Scarica, and that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but just go home, sis.
Anna, did you know that the Scarica video is in response to the latest video of Erica hanging out of the car? Yeah, girl.
Okay, did you guys tell me in the chat, did you guys see that video of her leaving the mortuary, guys?
This one?
Yes.
That's what that's in.
I was, and I was not expecting to see it that clearly, how much that was a photo op. I didn't expect to see it.
Freaking wild.
That was
wild. What is she doing? What is she doing? Oh, also, can we just say it? Like, why is she sitting in the front seat of the hearse?
Honestly,
probably. Like, really? She doesn't have any girlfriends, does she? Where's her family? Do they just let her do this, or is she just a tyrant? She's going to do what she wants.
Well, that is a reasonable question. I don't know exactly what's going on okay. For myself anyway, as soon as I saw the way that she was handling the public, I thought to myself, that girl does not have friends. She does not have real true girlfriends or like a sisterhood, because there's just no way that anyone would let her parade around in the gold sequins, right? Be out there, looking crazy with Barry Weiss. If she had true friendships, then they would tell her this is not right if they really cared about her. And so I think that my impression is that Stacy Sheridan plays an outsized role in her life. That really is my impression, because not only is she always with her, but in addition, if you gave Erica that little short sassy haircut, then the way that she behaves, the way that she walks around, she would remind me of Stacy. Right?
You're so right. You are so right. Even the way she dresses in an odd way.
Yeah. I think that's who's dressing her.
Is she sabotaging her?
That's a real question. I don't know. Because again, so Stacy Sheridan, just to make sure everybody knows who we're talking about, is the gal. She's very pretty. She's got like the short crop blonde hair. She's the one, we had some thoughts. I'm like, not me talking about another woman's top, but she was going to court and I'm in my office sweating. So, she was the one who had a little bit of a questionable outfit choice when it was coming to the courthouse. And she is the advancement person, as far as I understand. That's what her actual title is. I was having a chat with someone who was with Turning Point for like a decade, right? I was talking to like a TPUSA like insider, and I was just trying to understand a little bit more about the roles, about the ways that every person kind of works with each other, and that there are kind of some rivalries, different groups. This advancement team is where Stacy Sheridan comes from, and she works with Senior Gifts. So Senior Gifts, that is like The big donors. That's the big donors, right? So for Erica to have been in that, remember she was in the church, guys, and she was having that conversation with someone who was a potential donor, and they kind of manipulated the situation. Oh, here, Erica would love this, this Catholic. What was it? I don't remember exactly what it was. It was some scripture, it was like a piece of artwork, or it was can someone remind me in the chat? Oh my goodness. It was a gift from that individual donor, but the thing is that she was just Catholic for that day, right? She's not actually Catholic. We do know that. Like, and I'm not even convinced that she's Christian at all. But she just wanted to manipulate the situation, right? And so they were doing that by using Erica's sympathy card, which has been their victim card that they are pulling out all the time now. And we know how ineffective it is. We'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, whoever Iodine is in the chat, I think it's 135 Iodine, they said Sheridan smells like white diamonds. Have you ever smelled white diamonds? Yeah, it's
so
like
funny. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. She is. It's like the same
like older woman. No offense to anybody who likes white diamonds. That was one of my mom's favorite ones. I can't stand it. Her other one was Red Door. It's atrocious. Like
justice for the white diamonds, girlies. I remember getting that from my mom for Christmas per request. But eventually she said to me, I don't think I want it anymore. So I get the joke for sure.
I do. I mean, it's like, I guess it's funny though. I'm glad I know the reference. I'm like, oh, I know exactly. And you know what? That's not even the worst one. I would say Red Door is 10 times worse. It is like, and no offense to anybody who.
I just think, you know what, to me it is, I feel like Stacy Sheridan is mean to the waitress. I think that Stacy Sheridan is actually rude to the waitress because honestly, she just seems really uptight and stuck up, and I don't appreciate it even for a second.
No, not at all. I'm more of an Estee Lauder. There was Tammy wears white diamonds. Okay. And
that's just for the white diamonds, girlies. That's okay. Because you know what? Actually, there is something to think about. The fragrances, guys, we know this. Fragrances smell differently on different people. And so a lot of it can be like, your personal like body chemistry and blah, blah, blah. Are you like running around? Are you, not really getting sweaty? All of those things do make a difference. I have one fragrance, guys. I'm like, sorry for this girl story, but
which one?
There's this one fragrance. One of my sisters absolutely loves it. It is Carolina Herrera, I think, and it's like Good Girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of my sisters got it. She smelled amazing. And I was like, okay, babe, so I'm gonna need that immediately. And so I, just like stole a little spritz. And the rest of the day I was like, I need to shower. Like it was just not for me, right? So
like your skin pH and everything.
Yep.
So what do you wear, Anna?
On the day-to-day, I'm a girly girl, so I have like a stack that I use. I'm like, guys, tell me if this is way TMI, but I'm like a stack girly girl, so I do like Coco Cabana, and then on top of that, it's a lotion. It smells like coconuts. It's so yummy. And then I have a banana body spray, and then I put a tiny little bit of this. It's a really concentrated fragrance that I love, and it is from oh my gosh, now why? Oh wait, Comptoir Sud Pacifique. Please pardon my French. It's not that good, but and it's one of my very faves, and it's called Vanilla Extreme, and I love it. But you can only use this much, otherwise I'm going to smell like a cupcake factory, which is kind of the goal, but we don't want to announce ourselves.
Port Banana body spray. Yes, it's Port Banana body spray. Anyways, I'm reading all of it. Okay, just for the record, my two favorite ones are Valentino is amazing, and Chloe. Chloe is
like
the original Chloe. Yeah, yes. Love it.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? It's like when it's nighttime, I totally switch it up and then do something different. But like for day to day, I don't know. I just like to smell like a little cupcake. It just makes me happy. So anyway.
Carrying on. We are moving past the perfume talk, but it is a girls' gab Friday, so feel free to drop whatever you want. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Talking about gabbing. So we thought we'd start out with the DARVO with showing you examples of when they liked Candace, and by they we're talking about Jeremy Boring, Tyler Boyer, Andrew Kovette. I don't think that he ever liked her, but the whole crew. So this is Jeremy Boring, and remember back in Ben Shapiro and Jeremy were her bosses over at the Daily Wire. And this was around the time that she was about to be fired for saying Christ is king and genocide is always wrong. But interestingly enough, we have here, he's commenting on it, saying like Candace is paid to give her opinion, not mind her bends. Unless those opinions run afoul of the law or she violates the terms of her contract, her job is secure and she was welcome at Daily Wire, which I find interesting because they did end up firing her. And also very interesting because it's just ironic that they say that her opinion is valid here. And then they're on this quest for the next 10 years to basically undermine that.
Completely. And what I thought was really interesting too is if you guys take a look at when that tweet went out. So what do we remember about what Candace just showed us about her private conversations with Charlie? That was right around the same time that this tweet went out. And I get the feeling that obviously, October 7th, of course, it was a flashpoint for a lot of people. But it's interesting to me, the idea that they were being like, publicly, they were behaving like this toward Candace. But let's think also at the same time about those private conversations that she and Charlie were still like clearly having right at the same time. So just as we're kind of thinking about the things that are, behind the scenes, what we know happened, in addition to how is it that things are going publicly, again, we are trying to identify kind of their strategy and the ways that they are, the ways that they operate, because it's not good now. So, we want to make sure we're clocking them.
I find it interesting with Jeremy Boring. One, names are a thing. Like Jeremy Boring, I would change my last name. I'm sorry, legally. Be like,
would he be like Jeremy Loser? I don't know. What is more apt? I don't know. Like, what is a more apt name for him? Sorry, guys. I'm really mad at the Turning Point people. And so I'm going to be really rude about them. I'm so mad at them. And you guys know, I try not to be like rude to people, but I'm sick of them attacking Candace. I'll be honest. And so it's got me none of my best. I'm like, I'm going to have to talk to my priest, just like Candace says, right? I'm going to need to go and ask for forgiveness for this one. They frustrate me to no end. So
yeah, I'm non-denominational and I need a priest, I think. So, so carrying on, we just wanted to show you some of these. And here we have Tyler Boyer. Now this is a couple years before the last Jeremy Boring tweet, but he was, what is he, TPUSA Faith? Was he TPUSA Faith? I think so.
I think Jeremy Boring, Tyler Boyer. Okay, so as far as I understand it, Tyler Boyer was standard Turning Point, and he moved to Turning Point Action in 2022. I believe that's kind of when, like 2021, 2022 is right when all of the adjustments started to be made. And so as far as I know, they kind of pushed him into Turning Point Action. I think that as far as I know, Turning Point Faith has actually been a relatively more recent development. Yeah.
And so here we have Tyler Boyer, and he's gassing up Candace and Charlie. He's saying, I laugh when I see comments saying Candace is in the movement for money. She's the real deal, team player, and is on a mission to make a change by putting ideas before herself. It's an honor to know her, work with her, and have a front row seat for the cultural impact, which is quite different than the tune he's singing these days. And then we have a kind of another tweet at the same time. And we didn't want to clump up the slides with too much text. I do apologize, but this is the only way to do it. So here he's saying, you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not sure what that was in response to, but it's actually offensive because Charlie and Candace have taken almost no money to do what they do daily, while others in the movement, political elites and consultants, suck the movement dry and contribute nothing. It's funny how they change their tune because people their characters don't really change, I mean, at this point, Candace was probably in her late 20s, 30s. My point is, she's not going to be such a great character here and then change. You can change, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they really did have a different relationship going back. And I do think that when Candace was originally working around them, it certainly was better. It does seem like Ben Shapiro was kind of the catalyst to having all of these, relationship fractures, right? We know that when she did leave, that actually ended up really negatively impacting their ability to connect with people. I think in general, she very much was like a driving force. And so I do sometimes wonder if part of the reason that Ben is so enraged by her, I think, if that doesn't have something to do with it, if it's maybe there's a component of maybe jealousy or of, some kind of like friction that makes him react so strongly to her when realistically there's not really that much of a reason. We don't know what the real motive is.
Well, I mean, for being a woman, some people just hate you for no good reason. I think we've all experienced that, man or woman. There are just some people who hate you, and the better you're doing, if you're not doing it for them or, to their profit, they don't like it. They don't like, sadly, the truth is there are a lot of people who don't like to see you succeed. And it's a sad truth, but I mean.
Well, that's why I'm really, really glad that Candace has had the opportunity to connect with so many people and grow her audience, but also meet so many other folks than the ones that were around her at that time, right? I mean, I know that it's a hard thing to experience and it's a hard thing to keep in mind, but you know what I always think about? I always think about it is really easy to conduct yourself as a good person, a good Christian, as, just a good friend or whatever the case may be. It's really easy to do that when everything's going well. It really is. However, it is in the difficult moments and in those challenges that we really have an opportunity to behave just a little bit more like Christ himself.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds kind of weird, but what I mean by that is that to turn the other cheek and to be able to still conduct yourself that in a way that that when you meet your creator, and I mean, even when you go to sleep that night, you had a choice and you can, of course, stand up for yourself and all of that, but to still turn the other cheek, to still have compassion for others. They know not what they do. And so it does give us a little bit of a chance to live that moment. That's something that I always just keep in mind. That's for me, when I work with patients that are challenging and stuff, and I don't know if anybody is in healthcare. I'm sure that probably some folks, you definitely see it then that, there's oftentimes folks are just not in their best moment. And no matter what it is that they're saying, it doesn't have to change the person that you are. I noticed that Candace seems to have been somebody who has always, always, always fully been herself, true to herself. Mm-hmm. And that consistency and authenticity is so important. And so now I'm just so thrilled that she has, even in all of this darkness and all of how how awful and challenging this is, she's really had an opportunity to see how much that authenticity has connected with people and that people are truly coming to the light of being able to call it out for what it is when these bad actors are clearly doing bad things.
Yeah. And I've been watching the chat. Thank you to people who have been subscribing to me. Love you guys. More stuff coming too. But I think Nikki nailed it. She says, Ben is super jealous of her and Charlie. He worked against them while they were coming up together. Yeah, I mean, Candace and Charlie, they came up together and they came up really fast too. And they went from being people who were not known to all of a sudden, whoa, stepping right into it. And people were very receptive to them. They had a great dynamic. I mean, we all wondered what was going on there. So, you hit the nail on the head there, Nikki. So before we move on to our next slide, we were thinking, well, why? Why the DARVO? Why all of this hate and vitriol? Why? And it's interesting because the projection aspect, it's like they'll tell you what they're doing. It's kind of like people will sometimes tell you what they're guilty of. all you got to do is like listen to them. It's the same thing. Like they'll accuse you. If anybody's experienced it, if you've ever been with someone who accuses you of cheating and you're not the cheater, that's usually a dead giveaway, you know, because I think in people's minds, if they're capable of it, they think you are too. So, and I think that, you know, we know now, general consensus is it's the little hats. Would you say so, Anna?
As far as like who we think is influencing this reaction, is that what we're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem as though the Zionist interest is clearly, you know, the driving force behind, well, all of this, right? I mean, you know, at this point, I think that people are very much aware of that. And so it feels to me as though that disconnect between what is actually happening and what the interest is of Turning Point is so far apart that at this point, it's just becoming very clear. So I did notice that Tyler Boyer in particular, he's a really good example of somebody that I think his strategy has changed. And guys, I think that the change in strategy has been fascinating. The change in strategy has been completely fascinating because they generally were, how do I put this? They generally were playing along a certain line until they observed the public reaction. And that has caused them to change the way that they're going about this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we kind of see it here, and I wish I could zoom in on this, but I can't really. I pulled this from Victor Marx, and this was after he had gone on Candace's show. And I just found it very interesting because he kind of bullet points some of the things that we were thinking either consciously or subconsciously. So I just kind of want to go through some of these. Let me put on my glasses. Yes. You make me look like Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay.
You look cute. Stop.
So he's talking about claims of Candace about Victor. Accused of international arms trafficking, Haiti, Israel, possibly Iran. Look, he's very specific in what he's talking about. I'm kind of shocked. Claims that TPUSA faith is a front for arms and human trafficking. Allegations that associates are knowingly involved in these activities. Claims of engaging in spiritual practices involving demons. I mean, it's, you know, I'll keep going down the list, but suggestion that the Bureau of ATF and Explosives was investigating a firearm tied to individuals connected to Victor on day of high-profile death. It's just so interesting to me that he is just literally like bullet listing things like, okay, thank you for, I couldn't have been that specific myself without the help. References to the e-files. Let's see, accusations involving global conspiracies tied to our greatest ally and widespread violence against Christians. Claims of broad hostility between evangelical pastors and Catholics. Additional assertions of Brigitte Macron foreign military involvement and accusations of child trafficking. And then that Victor Marx is a compulsive liar, allegedly. Those are in his words. What do you think about that?
I mean, realistically, I think of Victor Marx when I'm thinking about my actors, right? Like, who is it that is actually in control of the situation and who's just kind of reacting to the situation? Victor is definitely on he thinks that he's in charge, but I don't know that he's in charge. And so I think that he's kind of given his marching orders to control like kind of his little group, but he's very obvious and he's very overt. And I don't think that he possesses the subtlety. I think he has that same little thing that Gary seems to have. No offense, Gary. But, you know, that thing where they're just not really capable of normal human communication and interaction, that it just comes across as so forced that, again, it's like, it is so obvious. Oh my gosh, Victor, like we deserve better psyops, don't you guys think?
Yes. And I just saw your message. Hang on a second. sorry. Is that better? Is that better, Anna? I just saw your message about the volume.
That is so much better. Thank you. Otherwise, I was just hearing echo, 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 and I was like, this is hard to talk, but we will soldier on. That's fine.
Yeah, so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, I can't stand his face either. And, you know, he reminds me actually of like a Laura Loomer figure.
That's a good comp. That's a really good comp. Yeah, right.
I think people like him are, well, he and Laura are actually pawns, but they don't realize it. And I think it's because what they love more than anything, and actually kind of Erica too, to be honest with you, it's the illusion of power. It's them thinking that they're important. Fame, being known. I think that that's what you know, they get drunk off of. And it always reminds me of that question, like, would you rather be rich or famous? And it's like, well, obviously rich. Like, who wants to be famous? But some people do want that. But if you had to choose between the two, you know, I think that they use people like this who are borderline mentally ill. I would say he is. They exploit them.
Right.
But at the same time, they're willing participants.
True. Absolutely. I think a lot about, you know, have you ever heard of MICE, this strategy for, you know, getting someone to go along with what you want? It's MICE, M-I-C-E. So it's money, influence, compromise, and ego. No, sorry, not influence, ideology. Sorry.
Interesting. I would have guessed. I would have guessed influence. That's funny.
Well, I think that one technically plays into ego. So kind of the same, you know what I'm saying? Where like, so this would be what I would think of as an ego motivated person. So it's like, okay, they can just give them the cash, the $7,000 per post or whatever. And for some people, that's a good fit. For other people, it's ideology, as in that would be someone who maybe you would think of like a religious extremist, someone who was engaged in, you know, maybe an actually crazy leftist or whatever, right? And so their ideology motivates them. Compromise is the one that we see play out a lot in our politics, right? Where that is compromising information, as in blackmail. And then ego is, in my opinion, somebody like Victor here, where you can make sure that he knows how important he is. He's on all of the guest lists. Everybody, you know, is kind of gassing him up. And for him, that's enough of a reason. And I do agree with you completely that people that certainly have like personality disorders, or, you know, anyone who's really troubled, this is a good way to motivate them because they want to be influential and important.
Yeah, absolutely. And somebody in the chat was saying that he does have dissociative identity disorder. That's a rough one.
Interesting.
And so did his mom. And somebody else was saying maybe Erica is his daughter. And I agree. I would say so. That's my opinion. Okay.
No comment. I'm like, no comment, but well I did see that side by side photo. We saw the side by side. Yeah.
They sure do look alike, in my opinion.
They sure do.
And then this is another one of the examples. It's kind of out of order, but yeah, this is Tyler Boyer again siding with Candace, and just saying, you know, gaslight the right and plant false notions in low info brain. Educate yourselves. We won't fall for that stuff anymore. So it's just an interesting comparison of before and after. So that's why I included those here. Okay, so let's get into some of these. This is Jeremy Boring, and this is him denying and attacking. So by this point, this is February, and he's addressing Candace's points, and he specifically goes down and denies that Erica had nothing to do with the assassination, doesn't engage in human trafficking, isn't being followed by Egyptian planes, which just makes me laugh at this point, because
I think it's really interesting to me to see the fact that it's Jeremy in particular. You know, like I said, guys, if we're outthinking them, we need to be seeing what kind of motivations they have and what is the message that they are trying to convey. See, remember that when Blake came on that space, you guys, Blake went on that space and he was sitting there and he started giving the message, right? He was giving the message. He clearly had certain messages that he was supposed to get across to the public. That's the reason that he's doing that. He didn't come on there to just hang out with everybody. Come on. We know that, right? So when you're thinking about what is Jeremy's motivation for engaging with the public even at all. We know that these messages are important to him. And so that is something that when we're thinking about it in our mind, when we're trying to solve this thing, which is the goal, right? We want to think about how everybody has different motivations, but also everybody has different messages. So it's interesting to me. Now, this to me kind of represents when Jeremy started to change. So we kind of saw, I just want to quickly, mention the strategies and the phases that they've gone through. Because I think we're in phase 3, guys, and we're worried about phase 4. That's kind of why we wanted to talk about this. And oh, yes, also, if anyone is able to, if you haven't liked the stream already, will you please, guys, like the stream or hit hype if you have the opportunity to, because we do want to make sure that people do get the opportunity to kind of talk about this stuff, and to send us questions, all that good stuff that we can talk about and answer for people, if you guys have them. So it is, I think, relevant, the fact that they have moved into this 3rd phase. Now, we saw at the very beginning, right when everything happened, that was kind of phase 1, right? That was kind of phase 1. Of course, Charlie had just passed. And so what I think that we were seeing at that time was kind of standard PR. It was just kind of regular PR. This is just by the book, crisis management, oh, yes, well, we're going to respond rationally. Well, if you guys noticed, when Candace met with Erica, did you guys notice how much things changed? Did you guys see that December, what was it, 14th, 18th?
About the 18th. And so we think up to that point is probably where our demarcation of phase 1. It was very, and as we go through this, now these are not in chronological order, but we kind of go back and forth, and you can really see the difference between, they were really just taking a back seat up until December 18th, and they weren't addressing any of Candace's points.
Legitimate concerns, right? See, what we noticed in that phase 2, especially from Jeremy, he's smart. We think of Jeremy as not, smart. It's kind of a, but he is he is one of the bosses. And so he is a little bit higher level than somebody that is just kind of a minion that's sent out to say certain things. He has some influence as far as what the message he is going to convey is, right? So in the 2nd phase, what we noticed was that he seems to be kind of doing this really fun thing I call high horsing it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? He's just up on his high horse. He's moralizing. He is he's sitting up there and he is specifically saying, okay, Candace, oh, here, I'm going to address you now. And it's very soapbox. It's very high horse in it. And it's honestly just, it's obvious, right? Okay, so why are you saying to us, why is the message you want to convey to the public that Erica doesn't engage in human trafficking?
Yeah.
Brother, what? That is crazy. That's such a crazy thing to say. So when we're saying, oh, TPUSA is not complicit, please, we know that this is not standard crisis communication. It's clearly a message. So when we're thinking about Jeremy, it's okay, so Jeremy went from silent to trying to be the moral authority on the topic. Do you guys see what I'm saying there? He's up on his high horse, and how dare Candace ask these questions? How dare people? And he gets worse and worse. And I just thought it was important to point that out.
Yeah. And we kind of talked about, none of them are good at PR, but I think Jeremy, no. We're talking about Jeremy Boring. I was thinking actually, Tyler Boyer. Yeah. No, but you see how, exactly, how would Jeremy know? How would Jeremy know? What does he have to do with any of this?
What does Jeremy have to do with any of this? First of all, why are we even hearing from Jeremy and in defense of Erica? Why are you doing this?
It'd be one thing to maybe comment on Candace, which would be distasteful, because you certainly don't see that of Tucker and Stu Peters talking about Blake Neff, and they had hired him to do a job, and you don't see them coming out and talking about him, It's separate. But then here you have Jeremy Boring, who has really nothing to do with the TPUSA orbit, unless I'm missing something. But he's just taking an opportunity, I think, to rail against Candace. And like we just said, the bullet list items, tell me what you didn't do, and I'll tell you what you did do, And
Absolutely.
Then you go down here, the state of our greatest ally did not assassinate Charlie Kirk, and they did not threaten him in the Hamptons.
What are we?
He really sums it up for us.
And by the way, was Jeremy Boring at that Hamptons retreat? Was he? Because I have not heard that he was an attendee of that retreat. So first of all, Jeremy, How do you know? Like, who told you that? Was it Seth Dillon? Was it Bill Ackman? Who was it that let you know that that never happened? And why is it that you think that you're the person who needs to inform the public of that information? That doesn't even make sense to begin with. So what are we doing here? I understand you're the boss of your company, but you're so irrelevant to the situation that the idea that you're inserting yourself, I think to myself that this might have something to do with Ben and the fact that, you know, for a time there while we were in phase 2, Ben was kind of not, you know, involving himself quite as much. And I thought, okay, so maybe it is kind of, they want Jeremy to be the person who kind of puts out the message that they are trying to promote. Does that make sense? Like Jeremy is the one who's going to go and take some of the heat or get into the ring a little bit, because he's not involved. Guys, something to definitely think about is that part of this crisis PR strategy, okay? Think about a crisis, right? Think about a work crisis, whatever. You know, there's a fire or something like that, you know, and then they need to have like a press conference or say something really bad happens, there's a lawsuit, blah, blah, blah. Generally speaking, the person who is the crisis communicator, the crisis PR person, is going to be the person who comes out and talks. They convey the message, they reassure, but the person who's actually in trouble, right? Say somebody left something in the microwave or something, and then it started a fire. They're not going to put that person in the front, because if anyone has any kind of culpability, liability, any kind of actual involvement, where are they putting that person? All the way in the back, right? They are not going to have the actual people responsible, at least initially, out in the forefront. So when we're trying to think about who it might be that maybe had more or less involvement, that is where I'm like, okay, Jeremy, got it. You're out in front. Probably don't even need to be involved. And, you know, it's less likely in my mind that he was.
Yeah. And Nikki is hitting all the nails on the head today. At least we're vibing. She said that Jeremy hates women. I think that's probably true as well. You know, I hadn't actually thought about that about Jeremy. Blake for sure does.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, it's very obvious to me. And you're right, they do tell on themselves. It's mind-blowing, just like what Victor Marks just did. Jeremy just gave us a whole list. Like, thank you for the summation. Thank you. Now I know. You know, it's just so specific. And then and here's the first attack actually on the friendship that I'm seeing. Candace Owens was not Charlie Kirk's best friend. And then he says, consider the issues addressed. Okay, Dad. Like,
yeah, this moral authority who we are supposed to now understand that now Dad's here, so everybody better, you know, fall into line and stop behaving in any certain way. So it's just like, and hold on a second, I did see a really good point. So one of the gals, Vassie, was mentioning the fact that yes, so Boyer employed Candace, who's involved from years ago. You know, I wasn't aware that Tyler Boyer specifically was, I mean, I guess I thought that they were kind of all more on like a contract basis, but I know that Jeremy Boring did when she was with Daily Wire. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So either way, you know, these people are all definitely involved, but I just keep thinking to myself, why are they, but you know, it feels to me as though Ben and Jeremy are a little bit more of tertiary characters, especially given that Ben was Charlie's nemesis, right? Yeah. So, you know, they're definitely not people that had like intimate knowledge or any kind of like real relationship, you would think. So yeah, he does have you know, Jeremy Boring, he definitely does have a lot of insight into Candace, but he's behaving so unprofessionally that it's just like, okay.
I mean, they're all fools. They're all fools. They don't have one professional person there. It's crazy to me how they can be in charge of such large-scale operations and none of them are qualified for the position. Yeah. Like, you tell me Andrew's PR, because it's ironic, because he's literally the worst PR person in the world.
I couldn't agree more. But I think that that's on purpose, guys. And that's something that I think that we will need to start to consider. You know, a lot of this crisis PR strategy does involve having somebody to come out and kind of be the bad guy in the front and to take a little bit of the heat, right? And I think that originally it does seem to me as though maybe Andrew thought that he was going to be that person, but we'll get to that as we get to him and we can keep going from here. Jeremy is boring, so.
Okay. So let's see more of this. And we pulled some random comments. We don't know who they are. So if you're in the chat, that would be like a sign. That'd be great. But anyway, somebody is saying here, this is back in October. So September, October, it was about 3 weeks later. In fact, I'll tell you this, about this time is when Erica filed for the 3 trademarks on his name. Yeah, 3 weeks after your husband's gone, you're thinking about that. I mean, good for her, from a business perspective, but that's not exactly what I would be thinking of. But then again, knowing these fools, maybe she beat them to it. So anyway, somebody's saying, hey, Tyler, nobody's trying to paint anyone as a bad guy. I'm assuming lack of denial means yes, messages are true. Just the majority of people, honestly, we feel like we're not being told everything and things just don't add up. I mean, this was like 3 weeks later, right? In his answer to this, and this was during phase 1, when they're really like just taking a backseat, and it reminded me of how we were not getting any answers. And honestly, if they had approached this a different way, Candace might not have dug in so hard that like it was a straight like, bye, we're not talking to y'all. So Tyler comes in here and says, well, we are being painted as bad guys because we can't respond to anyone except authorities. This notion that TPUSA is bad is not doing a public thing, and is not doing a public thing like Candace is not right. And basically, he goes on to say, I've been with Charlie any longer. Let's see, I'll reserve my opinions, but basically, we're not going to talk to you guys in October.
Yeah, they really did start to kind of, they were reacting, of course, to the way that the public was experiencing the situation, and then realistically having this reaction. And it makes sense that given the fact that they did not have even a good strategy from the beginning. I have no idea why these people thought, even for a second, that if the right decision was to just, okay, we're just going to basically, behave in a way as though this were just some random occurrence. I mean, it felt to me as though their entire strategy was based on the public moving on in the news cycle within a few days. I do not feel as though we had a plan. I do not feel as though there was a well-formed plan. And so for me, something that I sit there and, spend a lot of time kind of thinking about is like, so really what was the plan, guys? Because you knew very much that Candace was going to care about this. And also the idea that the public wasn't going to care about this, that is really, really foolish. So is it just that they didn't plan this well? Is this just that they really thought that they could, move the public off of it? I truly don't know. I spend a lot of time, you guys know that, thinking about Andrew's comment, Candace, it was supposed to be you. And sometimes I sit there and I think to myself, is there any way that he actually didn't think that this was going to happen the way that it did? I mean, not to, cast blame on him or anything like that. I'm not saying that he was even involved at all. Of course, allegedly. But my opinion is that, the idea that they really, really, really didn't anticipate this kind of response from the public, it is just so Bush League, guys. It's so Bush League. And so thinking that that really was the plan the entire time, it's just not tracking to me. It's not tracking all the way. So, I mean, we'll get into Andrew in a few minutes, I think, after we're done with Tyler.
And we have to shout out Nikki for the 5 gifts, membership gifts.
Thank you so much, Nikki. That is so kind. That's so wonderful. I'm like, I can't see that.
Really? You can't see it?
I don't know why. Well, I think it's because the chat is scooching around. Thank you so much, Nikki. That is so sweet. Yeah, I love that. Yay. I love having folks join our community. That is just so wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's very generous of you. Okay, so moving on. And this is still at the same time. Tyler Boyer, he just keeps on, repeating the same things. And then he's making it,
the victim card.
He's playing the victim card. He's saying he's receiving death threats and vile statements against Erica and him, and completely manufactured theories on staff, made up tabloid theories that he wouldn't send to his mother. At this point, I had not heard of anything. In fact, probably within 3 weeks, I was probably buying the fact that maybe authorities were questioning everybody. And maybe that's why they couldn't talk, maybe there was an ongoing investigation. So, but all of a sudden he's getting death threats. Really? Like, did you call the authorities? Did you file a police report? Because we never heard about that.
Right. I mean, we knew that the investigation itself was kind of being, conducted in a very strange way. I think pretty much from the time that we saw Cash come out and say, oh, we caught him in 33 hours, right? We knew that something was off. But at that time, it was a lot harder to say whether Turning Point or anyone associated with them had any kind of awareness of how badly it was going. They still, I think, did have a little bit of opportunity with the public to take things in whatever direction they wanted to. And whether it was intentionally or unintentionally, they just really handled it so poorly that I'm shocked every time that I go back and look back, which is why these little look backs are super helpful, guys.
It has been incredibly helpful, like preparing this. I do apologize for anybody who creates PowerPoints, like the no is to put too much text on there, but I really wanted you guys to have a reference for it. But yeah, going back and pulling all this, it was like, oh, I'm seeing it through a whole new lens or things that I had forgotten. And, also too, Anna, what I'm seeing right here is this is a member of the public. This is not Candace herself. And she's saying that, she had regularly watched Charlie's show and she had liked Andrew and Tyler. They were both on frequently. But that now she's questioning them. She doesn't want to, but she's like, I want to think of them as Charlie's friends, but like, what is going on? And so it's very interesting to see that this isn't just Candace. This is members of the public before Candace really started.
Well, I thought it was interesting because, with Tyler in particular, he's someone who, the way that he conducts himself, I always think to myself, I can tell that he clearly was a grassroots organizer. Something that we recall back is the fact that Tyler was, he was involved in Arizona and like local and state politics for a very long time before he got to where he is today. And so you can kind of tell that he does seem to show kind of an awareness of public perception. He is willing to engage with the public, which, on its face is a good thing. But this idea that he was going to get away with playing the victim when he is a grown man, I'm like, oh my gosh, you are not the emotional asset. How, even Erica, like as tough as that is, you can kind of understand where it's coming from. But he's like, I have received death threats. It's like, well, okay.
Who? Yeah, you're not that important. Who has been giving you death threats? And
But it's also interesting to me that he is one of the few people that recently changed. So in Tyler's strategy, he has moved into becoming more silent. And I think that that's been very protective for him. I do not think that it is a good strategy, the ways that they are conducting themselves. And for most people, their reputation has actually taken a significant hit based on the fact that they just can't stop pushing themselves into the limelight, right? And so Tyler Boyer is one of the few that has kind of successfully managed to fade a little bit into the background. And I think that that's on purpose, guys. I really do. Because Tyler is one of the bosses. When you speak with people who are at Turning Point, have been at Turning Point, have been around Charlie, etc., they will let you know that Tyler is one of the absolute highest level folks in that organization. And so he has been able to get away with doing the smart thing, which is silence, fade into the background, don't let anybody notice, and then he can kind of keep what is left of his reputation intact. I don't think that that's on accident, guys. I think absolutely they have a list of scapegoats. And I think that that list is longer than, I think it's longer than even they are aware of. They're at Turning Point. You know what I mean? Because there's folks that they will happily put right under the bus. They will put them right under the bus if push comes to shove. And also, I get the feeling that maybe some of these people have not realized that they are kind of getting set up to be scapegoats as well. And yet they keep wheeling Erica out there in whatever the outfit is, right?
I mean, you make a deal with the devil. I don't have any sympathy for you,
Yeah, right. It is. They have really, really done such an atrocious job of wasting any public support and public sympathy that at this point it goes, okay, so is this on purpose? That's the thing that I keep coming back to. Is it possible that this is on purpose? I think about that when it comes to Erica a lot. You can go for it if you want to. I'm just yapping. But I think about that when it comes to Erica a lot. Someone is advising this girl to go out there. Someone is telling her that she should go out there, make those speeches, wear those outfits, put the little mini Stacy Sheridan outfit on. Someone's telling her that she is supposed to do that. These are not independent decisions that she's making, right? So who is it that is advising her of that? And is it possible that those people are not aware how much damage she's doing to her own reputation? So we'll talk about what Erica should be doing in a few minutes, but we can keep going through these guys.
Yeah. And then this is also again from Tyler, again around the same date, and really he's just on the same narrative. See, he's just saying like, and it's interesting that it's this early on. First, it goes from we can't talk because there's an ongoing investigation, and now he's so hostile to a member of the public who wants to know. And she is saying, Reagan here is saying, can you help dispel some of the rumors? Who is the individual removing the camera? The actions were kind of bizarre that day. And he is so cocky. He's like, well, it's already been shared all over the internet. And he and his family have been wrongly targeted. You can do what you want. But, I don't think you'd want people falsely accusing you of murder without some real evidence. It's so defensive from even like just a week's difference. Like why can't he just answer the questions? Now I am remembering why this got so heated. And he's like, I'm politely asking you to stop getting it wrong and demanding that Erica and TPUSA put out information.
He is really, really good at playing this victim card, at being, and again, it's more of this like kind of this moral authority to try to manipulate public perception, right? Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see in this timeline how it is so clear. And again, like I said, he has very much seemed to, I don't know how much he's currently replying to people, but you'll see that here with, this response. This is a response to the public. This is not a response to him being called up by Candace. This is not a response to, this isn't some influencer beef or something like that. It's just a member of the public, and he feels the need to write her an entire paragraph. What are we doing? Why is it that you are bothering to engage in this way? Because it doesn't make sense. So what do you think is going to happen, Tyler? Like, what do you think is the positive outcome of this? Do you anticipate there being a positive outcome to you behaving in this way? I truly cannot see what it is.
Yeah. They really should have actually hired an outside crisis management firm. It seems like they did everything internally, and you know how that goes.
Well, and also something to think about, actually, you bring up a really good point. So had they hired an outside crisis PR firm, that is absolutely what they should have done. However, what do we know about them? They are victims of their own hubris. And so it does make sense that Andrew maybe said, don't worry, guys, I am a crisis PR person. Then he thinks that he can handle it, when clearly he can't. And I think that a lot of that is why he was sent to DC over the holiday weekend a few weeks ago, and why they had to change the entire strategy, because it was going so poorly on his watch. That's really what I think.
Yeah. And then just more of this, basically now we're into November, and Candace has been reporting on things, and somebody else is just asking why they've been silent about Egyptian military planes tracking Erica. And all he says is, please show some respect for Erica.
It's so funny because it's like, guys, what is this? How is it that you guys think that this strategy is working? I mean, do you guys remember how big of a deal it was when the Egyptian plane stuff was happening? Guys, I remember that like it was yesterday, because I remember that Candace had received credible death threats. Don't you guys remember that? That she had actually, there was a hit put out on her. Do you guys remember right around this time? So as we are out thinking them, something that I have been keeping in the back of my mind, and I want all of you guys to keep in the back of your minds, what is it that was happening at the time when Candace and Erica finally met up? So what is it that made it so that Candace was, for some reason, allowed finally to meet with Erica. Why did that happen? And I have been thinking about quite a bit the fact that, it's interesting to me that all of this stuff was happening with those planes. Do you remember that she was saying that she was going to become an expert? That's what it was. She said, I'm going to become an expert on these planes if you guys don't leave it alone. Well, now all of a sudden, somehow the French, the president and Mr. Macron were, the president and the little Macron were having this reaction. They said that they were going to, there was a idea that maybe they had put out a hit on her, which is crazy, right? Okay, and then we're talking French Foreign Legion. And
that's what Nikki said.
French
Foreign Legion. Yep.
Satis, right? All of that happened. And I remember very, very clearly because there was all this stuff happening with those planes. And I was like, ooh, maybe I can try to think about something with that. And I'm like trying to look at them and everything like that. It was quite literally the next day or so that Erica finally agreed to meet with Candace. Well, why would Erica finally, after all this time and all these months and all of this back and forth, and Candace is still being, relatively compassionate and blah, blah, blah. Why did Erica agree at that time to go and meet with Candace? Could there be another reason, for example, a distraction that they wanted to maybe get her kind of moved off of the Egyptian plane thing? It's just something that occurs to me. I keep it in the back of my mind. I'm not saying that that is what I necessarily even think happened, but it's been interesting to me, the fact that all of that was happening. And then all of a sudden, or wait, it wasn't Fort H, was it? Was it Fort Banana that came at that time?
What?
No, somebody help me in the chat. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm getting my timeline backwards.
No, that was December. But we're there. We're in December.
Fort Banana, we're in December, right? So she meets with Erica on December 18th. Oh my gosh, 18th.
Which date was it?
Help us in the chat. Oh no. I'm like, wait, we can Google it. Should I Google it? I'm going to Google it. Hang on 2 seconds.
It was.
We have to look it up because this is
made up, huh?
Okay, so when did Candace have Mitch Snow on? Because I'm like, I just watched the episode like a week ago. Mitch Snow date on Candace. Ignore me Googling, guys. No one look. Sorry. That's okay.
Erica, I feel like the 5th is a thing. The 5th of December and the 18th.
What date?
It was right before Ann Bess, which was the 21st. So
21st.
She met with Erica on the 18th.
And then she met with Mitch. No, wait. After the meeting, Candace invited Mitch Snow on her podcast on December 18th. She met with Erica on December 14th. Is this right, guys? Somebody tell me in the chat. Is that right? Now I'm like, oh no, I should have studied that. That's not what I was even studying last night. I'm sorry, guys. It was like right at the same time, though.
It was right after Erica met her.
Okay. So it was like Egyptian plane, Erica, Mitch Snow. Right? Wasn't it, guys? I think so. And so
she met with Mitch after the meeting with Erica.
Okay, right. Yes. Nikki, you were so on top of it. Yay. Thank you for being a co-investigator.
It was Jennifer's birthday. Okay.
It was right.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it was all right at the same time. And it was like I remember getting whiplash a little bit, guys, because again, I was like really looking into the Egyptian plane thing. I knew that she had the color-coded chart. I wanted to see the color-coded chart so bad. I was like, Candace, please show us the chart. Because, she had the purple plane and then she had the yellow plane. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if she knows about the other ones. You guys know that there's other Egyptian planes. There was a lot happening right then. That's what I'm saying. And so it's like.
Yeah, the chat is right. It was that meeting with Erica and I guess Erica had lied to her, but she didn't reveal her cards. Yes. And that is when she cranked it up. That was a crazy holiday season.
Guys, it was, oh my goodness. It was just total whiplash the entire time. And it was like, and so when we're thinking about it in the context of crisis PR strategy and management, right? All of these different emotional manipulation, abuse tactics, etc., we should also be thinking about, and that is part of their crisis PR strategy. So when we're thinking about why are they, why would Erica finally agree to meet with her then? Well, could it be that it was to distract or, at least maybe find a new top story for whatever was happening in the moment? If you guys think about, so I don't know if any of you guys are super familiar with the way that journalism kind of was happening maybe even 10-ish years ago. I'm reminded a lot of the way that they use strategy nowadays, with this crisis management that they used to kind of do Washington, D.C. journalism. And a very, very common thing that people would find is if a journalist had a story, say it was a juicy one, probably about I don't want to say Lindsey Graham, God rest his soul, but you know what I'm saying. If there was a very scandalous story that was brewing, then a lot of the way that those people would get out of their scandalous story coming to the top is they would say, but I have a better story for you. Do not run that story. I have a better story for you. And so I'll give you this story instead of giving the taboo story that you were going to go with. That was like a thing that they used to do all the time. And I'm reminded of that when I see the ways that these guys are handling things. I'm like, oh, okay, I see it. You want to distract from something that is a much bigger deal. And so you're trying to kind of push the story, even though it's maybe not great, the story that it is going to come out anyway, instead of just addressing the issue head on. Does that make sense, guys? I really hope it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm trying to follow some of this. Yeah, no, good point. And then, you know, this is Tyler Boyer in early December. So this would be right before, a couple weeks before Candace met with both Mitch and Erica. And I actually think that was the date of a Jonas Brothers concert that I went to. Just have to say. Anyways, I remember. But anyways, this is when things are really getting like heated, that they're not releasing any information to the public again. And once again, he's doing all the DARVO things. You know, someone's saying, why can't you have Candace on virtually? That's right. This was right after they said, hey, we'll meet you, but you need to tell us in the next day, you know. If y'all,
that was weird. That was really weird.
I would have gone. That was weird. And also, who gets to dictate this? Like, it's now or never, you know, like how that's not really a good environment.
No, absolutely. This is a really good comment. I just wanted to put it up for a second. This is such a great point, Jess. So Jess or Jeff, you remember when Candace said that she couldn't go on Charlie's show that day, and then the night before Erica asked her to meet, and they were just being so weird to her. They were being so weird to her, and I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. It made me very uncomfortable, just the way that she was like kind of being treated. I remember being like, oh Lord, please do not let Candace go to Arizona. I would not feel okay with her going into Arizona, because they were so, how do I put it? They were just behaving in a way that was erratic. It didn't make a lot of sense, and it wasn't a good high trust environment. And so my feeling was, I don't want her to be put in that situation. So anyway, we can move forward now into, you want to talk about Ben next? Next, because I think we know about Tyler Boyer now.
Yeah, I think we've done the thing on Tyler. Okay, yeah. All right, moving right along. This is just more of Tyler saying he's gotten doxxed and that he's got serious threats from people we worry are being armed and passionately believe that I've been a part of killing one of my closest friends. Okay.
Drama queen.
Cry about it.
Yeah.
And then here we have the little argument going on about,
we're on to Andrew. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we're on to Andrew saying that Candace and Charlie weren't friends, which is the craziest thing.
It has been just okay. So guys, do you want to hear my little theory about what I think is going on with Mr. Andrew? Because as you guys know, I have an opinion about him very much. But, you know, the thing about Andrew is it occurred to me that, yes, Andrew is the PR manager. So therefore, he is the person who should be, hypothetically, in charge of the situation. Now, that being said, given that there was a personal relationship, it is not even appropriate for him to be the crisis manager in the situation, even if he is the totally most innocent person in all of it. He should not. I mean, like, if we were thinking of Andrew just like a totally positive, wholesome character, he should not be, go back one for me. He should not be the person who is being asked to perform that job.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay.
I just want to make sure they can like read into all of these little attacks that while I'm yapping
No,
about
I think it just automatically took over on its own.
AI is getting closer. Okay. But anyway, so guys, the thing is, even if Andrew were totally, I mean, let's just pretend that he, for a second, is just totally an innocent actor in all of this. He's totally fine. He's not doing anything wrong. Even if that were the case, it would not make sense for him to be the person who is in charge of crisis management. We know that if there's a personal relationship, I don't know, Detectives are removed from cases, right? If there's a personal relationship, a judge recuses themselves. Certainly, with a lot of medicine, generally speaking, if a provider's family member, God forbid, comes into the ER, the provider's not expected to be the person who treats them, because having that direct relationship is not always a good thing in a crisis. And so, if Andrew had even been totally innocent in all of this, he should not have been involved anyway, except for as more than a friend and a person who knew and loved Charlie. That's thing one. But if you think about the fact that when everything happened, when this actually took place, what happened? Candace called Andrew. Candace called Andrew. And why is that? Well, because Andrew is the guy that everybody calls. He's the guy. He's the guy that everybody calls. You're going to call him in a crisis. Understandable. Everybody has one of those people that's kind of the point man, right? It's understandable that she would, but I think that what it did was it meant that he had a real problem worming his way out. I think that if he had it his way, he would have avoided even speaking to her, right? But he knew at that point that, well, he already knew that Candace was going to be a problem, right? Hypothetically. And so if he had no choice, then my impression has been that the only option that he would have been left with, given that he is the person who has to be there in front of everybody, is going to be that realistically, he had to have a strategy. He had to have a strategy. And if that strategy meant that he was going to have to play along and play nice, that was why he's, spent so much time trying to just hold on to a relationship with Candace. Go ahead now. Sorry.
All right, you're good. Okay, and yeah, so we, that whole back and forth between Candace and Andrew went on for some time, but we didn't feel like, exhausting y'all on the slides here. So we're moving on more to Jeremy Boring. This is back like in February, and what I thought here is the interesting thing is he transitions from attacking Candace to attacking her followers. He says a woman watching Candace should feel the same shame as a man watching corn. I think that is crazy, right? And let's see. And he just goes on at the same time. I mean, the day before, he's railing against Candace too. But this is when we start to see more of the transition back to the public. Like Tyler Boyer had been on the attack before with just the public, but now he's saying that her followers are like watching corn. Like, I don't know, the level of grossness and distaste in this thing and how they all speak and conduct themselves. I don't know. You have any thoughts on that?
I think I've said everything I want to say about them. I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of, again, I think that the point is, though, to me, anyway, the most interesting part is the fact that they have changed strategies, and it's really obvious. And it's at the point now where we have to ask ourselves why. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then just, he continues on, Jeremy Boring just continues on being boring, but, now coming after the particular type of women who are questioning Erica. I don't even like the word criticize, because at first we weren't criticizing her. I don't think any of us actually wanted her to be involved. That was a nightmare. I remember feeling like that was a nightmare. But, here he's saying there's a particular cohort of women treating Erica Kirk basically poorly is not random cruelty. It's an output of cultural rot. This guy. And then he's saying they're more soulless and shameless. Is there anything more soulless and shameless than jumping on the Candace Owens blasphemy, anti-Semitism, widow defaming, country betraying, hatred and deception, monetizing bandwagon? What was he drinking when he wrote that? Sounds like a Blake Neff tweet.
It does sound like a Blake Neff tweet. Did you guys notice the fact that, oh my gosh, guys, Did you guys notice the fact that sometimes it does seem as though different people are running each other's social media? I noticed that with Andrew Wilson and Andrew Kovette. Like recently, for some reason, it would appear that maybe Andrew Wilson is the one who's sending those tweets. Oh my gosh, what are we doing here, gentlemen? Don't you remember Andrew Wilson came and he was like, well, guys, I'm going to debate Bear, and it's going to be $10,000. I'm going to debate Candace, and I'll pay her $50,000. All of this stuff, and it's like, sir, what are you doing here? What is the point? Because realistically, everybody knows he admitted that he came into Turning Point to come and try to help them. He's been part of this third wave, and it's like, guys, come on. This is not a good strategy because he doesn't even sound authentic. I don't know. What do you think of him?
Yeah. I don't think so either. Who exactly were you talking about?
Oh, sorry. So I'm talking about Andrew Wilson. Andrew
Wilson. Oh,
right.
gosh.
He's been part of this kind of third wave thing, right?
Yeah,
he's been kind of part of the third wave where he's coming in to make some adjustments, and he's not doing a good job. It's obvious.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so just moving forward, we got a couple more slides to kind of move through. Nothing new here, but Jeremy Boring, we're talking about who's writing whose tweets. It's like, I think I could easily see he and Blake Neff kind of have the same language. It's all like lofty and using too many big words when it could be said so much easier. And they both hate women. It's very clear. And listen, it wasn't until I really recently started listening to Blake Neff that I ever really thought I had found a misogynistic man. That was the first one for me. I mean, you meet him, but you know, whatever.
Right. I mean, no, this is like true. This is like true misogyny, and it's concerning. And the idea that this guy is now supposed to be representing Charlie, and like, what are we doing? You know, what are we doing here, Blake? It's just not good. It's not being done well.
So then, we kind of move into the summer. Oh, well, I mean, it is summer now. It's July. These are more recent. And then all of a sudden, Ben Shapiro kind of comes around, and we were talking earlier, and it's like, when did Ben really start showing up? And it really wasn't until this kind of like third phase that he starts rolling out.
That's exactly right. Yeah. He's part of the third wave. Have you guys noticed that? Like, Ben was hiding in plain sight. Right. I mean, he's been around the story, of course, and he is a nemesis, understandably, to Candace. But why are they rolling Ben out now? That's the question that we should be asking ourselves. Why are they rolling Ben out now? Every single word that Ben Shapiro says is workshopped, is approved by legal, is sent with a message, right? And it's sent to be a professional, intentional message. So why are they rolling Ben out now? Is it because, our bad guy, quote unquote bad guy, Erica, is just not being believed anymore? Is it that they need to have a new kind of a villain? Part of the strategy is to have somebody who takes the heat. And now what I've observed anyway, you tell me what you think, Rio, but part of the strategy seems to be, let's move Blake into talking to the public. Let's move Andrew into being mean openly, combative. And now let's bring in a new bad guy to draw all the attention and the heat, Ben. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like,
I think maybe now this is making me think maybe Ben bought into like an interest, actually made a purchase into the company. Maybe he pumped some money into it, and he's like, I'm going to take over a little bit of the.
And he's trying to IPO his company, isn't he? Do you guys remember that? He's trying to IPO, isn't he? Because everybody was like, why are you doing that? So he's putting his company out there too. So maybe there is a financial motive. That is an interesting question, Rio. That is fascinating.
Well, and I mean, and here you just see him like, lodging these insults against Candace and her viewers. Like, you have low IQ. What did Candace know about, what was going on? Yeah, and basically just having it out with Candace, and he hadn't really before. And then we see more of these just random attacks, and we put this in here because we just wanted to condense it to show you really, like, Blake Neff is over here saying we've entered loopy chart era of Candace. It's like they're making fun of her for an investigation. Anything she does comes under criticism. It's like, okay, I look at this. chart, that's something that I have. Oh, I'm sorry that she wants answers to questions. And then he's just at the same time saying she's not asking questions. It's like bullying from a narcissist. She's bitter that a far better person than her eventually saw her for who she really was. And he's talking about Charlie.
This is that thing you were talking about, reversing the victim and the offender.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyhow, just more here with the attacks. This is whenever we're honor the widow, worship the widow.
So crazy.
And he's just, doesn't he know not to like feed her? Like anytime he tweets, it's just like fuel to her fire. He's not even taken seriously, really. And then he's like, nobody plays a victim like Candace. And Jeremy Boring is at the same time saying no one projects like Candace, which is interesting. Projection and victimization are two of our, tactics that they use. And then we're just more cackling. Oh, here it's interesting because what was this? Who's the pastor?
Well, you'll have to be more specific. Ron McCoy?
Who's no. The one who jumped in the back of the van or the SUV.
Oh, Frank Turek, yeah.
Yeah. So Frank Turek was reading aloud that Candace was coming between marriages.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's whenever Blake was like, I can't believe she'd laugh because she pushed people to the brink of divorce. That's crazy when you think about it. Like to blame somebody for your divorce, that's part of the attack reverse victim and offender. It's like, really, you're going to make her responsible for somebody's marriage?
Right. And it was that Project Mocking Pastor or whatever, right? Like it kind of felt like they were just like, okay, so we're going to blame Candace for things that she has zero control over. And also, by the way, if you've ever had a positive experience with Erica Kirk, make sure that you come and tell us about it and put it on the internet too.
Yeah. Someone is saying Ben donated $1 million to TPUSA on 9/11. Oh, that was the day afterwards. Yeah, of course he freaking did. And so moving along, we're still in July. There's just been so much that has happened recently. And I don't know about y'all. I'm sure you're experiencing the same thing. It's like every day it's something new, and just keeping up with these tweets is nuts. But now Jeremy Boring a couple weeks ago is saying, Candace, you're the demon. So is Tyler. It's not Charlie's wife. It's not his friends. The demon is not TPUSA or Israel. It's like he loves to listen to himself talk. This is literally he and Blake Neff might be the same person.
What if it's actually them? Like, what if they are tweeting from the same account? It's possible.
They're so gay, they would think that was funny. They'd be like, oh, it's you. So see if they notice. And then, we keep moving through, and what we found was there's like this push for a while, and I think actually they're back at it, to really like say that it's a leftist thing and it's the problem with the left. And I think they thought that the conservatives, those of us over that are more right-leaning, would be incensed by that and would like push back against the left. And it's like, you guys, congratulations on bringing us together on the one thing we could all agree on. And it's that you guys are nefarious. It angers me every single time I see him say something about left-wingers, because I know that's what they're doing. Yeah. They want the right to get mad about it. And it's like, shut up. And this was in response to Aubrey Leish, who y'all know was Covette's assistant, who he fired.
Right. And like a young lady, like, what is he doing? Trying to, what are these guys doing? I think they are so foolish for allowing, how do I put it? Allowing the narrative to get out there that they're also not good bosses. If we're thinking about what is actually effective as a crisis PR strategy, they should have given everybody a month off. Even just thinking about it objectively as like a, what we're about to talk about is what we would do if we were actually trying to have an effective PR strategy in a moment like this, right? That's part of what we are about to talk about. And if you actually wanted to be successful in this endeavor, part of that would be making sure that you take good care of your employees in a moment like that. Otherwise, you're going to have them dropping off like flies, and they're going to have a lot of nasty stuff to say about you guys. And that's what's happening. We're seeing it right now.
Yeah. And there are a couple, it seems to be a popular thing with the men in the chat, but it's the exact thing that I thought whenever Blake was like, I don't remember where I was. And it's because he's a down low gay man and he was running tricks. I don't even know where these words are coming from. Is that
I'm sorry, what's happening? Sorry. Hang on a second. Disavow. What am I saying? What are you talking about?
You remember whenever like Candace was like, where were you the morning of and the night of Charlie's, schmurder?
Yeah.
Blake can't remember where he was.
Oh, you think he was with a
100%.
gentleman caller?
No, 100% that's what he was doing.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
I see. Okay. I see what you're saying. That if he was with someone that he did not want the public to know that he was with.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting as a theory. That, you know what? I hadn't considered that. I thought that he was I thought he was driving that Charger.
Well, yeah, that's what other people are saying. But he wasn't, because he was with another dude, and I do believe that.
Are we we're pure spec? Okay, disavow. Like
hey, I'll own it. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh, you don't know where you were, because you can't make something up. My God, y'all lie about everything else.
That's a good point. That is a very interesting point. In fairness, think about this. So we know that Blake came on those spaces. He kind of did that. He kind of went off half cocked.
Yeah, he did.
Pause. Okay. Like, don't worry.
But he did, right? Not me.
So he kind of, but he made his decision, right? And he came onto those spaces and just jumped in. And that was so just, well, it wasn't a good decision in my opinion. That's why he had to have Myron Gaines come and save him. That was so weird.
Awful. Gosh, I'm so glad that she muted him. I think that was Louisiana's chat.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was listening to them, like the replay from last night, and she was like, I had no idea he was in there. I thought it was a fake account, and then all of a sudden, so I was like, yeah. And so then, these slides, we've already gone over it. They're just basically saying that Candace wants Charlie's murderer to go free. So they're like putting words in her mouth. That's never what she said. We just want the right person to be in custody and really have justice. Regardless. So let's see. What do we have here? Just more of the same stuff. I don't know why I thought y'all needed all of this, but it was important at the time. And then they bring on an Army Ranger to debunk the whole microphone theory and the science behind the 30-06. To me, it is crazy. The one thing that has stood out to me the most is, why are they clinging? They're not the prosecution. Mm-hmm. Like, why don't they want to know the truth too? Why are they so adamant that this is exactly how it happened?
Well, that's exactly right. But that's exactly the thing. Did you notice that Andrew has now moved into phase 3? I'm just asking questions. I have questions too, right? So why do you think you would do something like that? What's your theory on that?
Rhetorical question. You've got, they're running two sides. One saying, well, I'm just asking questions, which is kind of a sarcastic thing anyways. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really have any questions. And then the other side is trying to just be like, this is it. This is it. It's like, you're not the prosecution. Stop acting like it. Even Erica's lawyer kind of got called out, in the preliminary hearing. People were criticizing, like, you were not the prosecution. Right. You might represent the victim, but anybody should just really want to know the truth, not just cling on to this narrative, which I think this is the craziest thing we are seeing, you guys. Like, never in my lifetime or any of our lifetime, but it's almost like we're living an upside down world sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. To me anyway, it feels like, I think personally that it's not an accident. I don't think it's just because he's messing up. I think that he's given new marching orders. When he went to Washington, D.C. on July the 3rd, he met with Mima. He met with our vice sectional. and he met with Pete, Pancake Pete.
Yeah.
So he met with the most important people, right? I mean, not most important, but he met with some of the people that I have been thinking these are kind of main characters in our story. And my impression is that was to get new marching orders. And so all of this is being done on purpose, right? That's what, I mean, that's the only reason I can think of this sea change that we saw happen after July 3rd.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. They had to change it up. And I think they've come out aggressively, but just acting like wildebeest, basically, to bring that back up.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, more of this, them trying to say it's the left. And then we have here, this is Andrew Kovette denying that, that BB made an offer in the Hamptons.
Yeah.
And that goes on for a while. This was all so recently. It has been a long July, you guys. And Anna, this was about the time that you're talking about that they went to DC and they kind of came back with a different attitude. And at the same time, this is what, Andrew was presenting with.
And that's so interesting that that's the perfect tweet to have brought up because it's also right when she went on Sean Ryan. Originally, I was thinking that was the reason. Right? I don't even think, did we know that he went to DC for the first day or two? And then someone had to point it out to me that they were like, no, look at this tweet. He was in DC. And I was like, oh, that's why. I thought it was just because she went on Sean Ryan.
Yeah. I think that's what they wanted us all to think. And I mean, that's what I thought it was until, we were talking more and I was like, oh yeah, okay, you're right. They were all there. And yeah, this is just that back and forth that we've all seen. And it did, going on, happening at the same time as Sean Ryan gave them a cover for why they were acting so aggressively.
Right. And Candace also was off right then, wasn't she? She had just, think about that for a second. So Candace had gone on her vacation, right? Isn't that true?
They do. So, every single time she goes on vacation, they do this.
Which is ridiculous. But if you think about it, also, she had that last episode and then she did that emergency episode, that emergency update. I wonder if any of that stuff spooked them enough that they were like, oh, we need to change the strategy, right?
Possibly.
And whip out Ben Shapiro and make it so that we have like a new angle to pursue. That's what I'm saying is that it feels like all of it is on purpose. Now, a lot of it is, I think, just, poor performance from a lot of them. But in addition, it's like, why is Ben Shapiro all of a sudden becoming involved? Could it be the fact that Candace showed some really incriminating photos on that emergency episode that she did? I'm so glad that she came and did that episode. I am so glad. Yeah.
Me too. And it's no coincidence that Candace announces when she's going to be out of town most of the time. And then they just levy the attacks every time.
Absolutely. Pretty ugly stuff. It's like, the woman cannot, and actually that brings us to, I think, what we were going to, talk about here is that they really do choose to attack in a coordinated way when someone is not able to defend themselves. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean by that? Like with Charlie?
Yep. And also not being able to defend yourself in the sense that not only either you're departed or you're not around. But here, whenever Andrew was like, well, Candace proved that we had that conversation. And it's like, I can't prove something that was on a phone call. And he's just like, well, there was no proof, all caps. It's like, duh.
Right. That's probably exactly why he did it. Right. That's my impression is that it's really, they wait until it's the opportune moment and then they take advantage. And again, that is why sometimes it is just so obvious what they're doing. It's like, we can see through you. We can see you doing this and we can tell that you're not operating in good faith. It would be one thing if this was being done in good faith and they just happen to be jerks. Guys, just so you guys know, the first several months, I did not like Andrew from the first day that I saw that little smug expression. I just didn't like him, but I kept thinking to myself, okay, but you know what? Jerks lose people too. Yeah. Jerks lose people too. So it doesn't really matter, if you just don't like his face. That might just be a personal thing that you just don't like his face. Maybe he lost somebody and maybe that's why he's acting so weird. But it is so obvious that it's just at the point where it's blatant and it feels like it is asking for us to ignore what we're seeing, ignore our own common sense. right?
Oh, that's been the whole subliminal message this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Stop asking questions. Stop asking questions.
Yeah. And I did just want to address really quick. So I personally have absolutely no interest in Blake Neff's sexuality. So we don't need to even, I don't even want to think about it. Because to be honest with you, I'm not sure that he has any person that he's ever had a romantic connection with. I'm just going to leave it there. I think it's probably more that direction to me anyway. That like, I just think that he just, I think that Blake might have some misogynistic, aspects to his personality. I don't know if that has to do with women, men, or whatever's in between. It could be a furry with, on the top of the Lucy Center, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think that's super relevant. I think that Blake just has a lot of trouble with communicating with people with any common sense and much compassion. It almost feels like it could be the sort of thing I was thinking, that maybe he was just a little bit, just a really super nerd, and not in a fun way, like not in a fun way. Like maybe it was like at the point where it was just not good for him. So I did just want to address that because I saw it going by in the chat. Let's move on to, let's talk about, you want to talk about Ben?
Yeah, so this is like, I found this interesting because Kovette had kind of come out and like lied about saying that like Ben and Charlie were friends, which is interesting because he was saying that, Charlie and Candace weren't friends. And this was kind of like a lateral power move here. And Ben comes out and he's like, look, I don't really care about personal drama. I've said repeatedly, Charlie and I were not best of friends. Maybe you were best friends with Charlie. Maybe not. I don't know, nor do I care.
That was really interesting because it's funny that like Ben all of a sudden now is having the opportunity to seem like a little bit more of a straight shooter. Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. Because it's like when we were talking about it before, it's like, so I don't know who more of a like a good upstanding man between Ben and Andrew Kovette. I'm like, no, like neither of you. You're both just awful, right? But it's interesting that now Andrew has said something publicly that is super questionable and clearly dishonest. And then Ben comes on and takes the opportunity to do what? To be a straight shooter, which people respect. To be like more of like a man, but like, just a straight shooter, just telling it like it is. And people do respect that. And so it's very interesting. That was a very effective manipulation tool by Ben. That one, I'm sure, got workshopped to high heaven, and you can tell, right? So it's like, is it possible? I'm like, guys, I don't want to sound like I'm like thinking everything is a psyop, but is it possible that maybe
I think everything's a psyop?
With these guys, it feels that way a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels that way like a little bit. It's like, well, gosh, is it possible? Is it possible that now they need to have a new kind of a next fall guy that can let everybody else kind of get behind me, right? It's like, so is it Andrew? What do you guys think? I'm like, somebody tell me in the chat who you guys think is the person that maybe either is kind of behind some of the strategery that we're seeing, or is maybe the person that they are kind of just setting up to be the bad guy, like, the fall guy, the one who takes the heat. You tell me. And, the biggest concern that I would say that I have at this point, honestly, guys, is the idea that it is potentially possible that they're going to try to do this same messaging with Charlie.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And so let's finish up here, and then we can like hang around and chit chat. But basically, we see Erica now like go on the victimhood, little tour. She bails out of the University of Georgia, where she was supposed to be meeting with J.D. Vance, and then Andrew gets upset because CBS didn't contact them to talk to them about the Secret Service determining that there was no credible threats after her cancellation. So that was interesting. I just think she didn't want to stay. Other things I've heard are that like the turnout wasn't good, so she didn't want to be there.
Mm-hmm. That was embarrassing. Well, and that's interesting though, because think about that, guys. I'm like, okay, like let's think about that for 1 second. So the turnout was embarrassingly low. Did she know that beforehand? Did any of them not anticipate that? Now, our vice sectional was there, wasn't he? And he was supposed to be the draw. So what happened there? And that's just something I want everybody to keep in the back of our mind as we're continuing to investigate. Think about who's on what team, who's from what little mob family, blah, 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 kind of how we're thinking of them. Not everybody's always on the same one. So that'll be relevant, I think, as time goes on.
Yes. And then, like, 2 weeks later is that White House media dinner, correspondence dinner, and the shooting there. So, like, a widow to like another, oh, poor me, my husband died. And then, the University of Georgia scare and the Secret Service. It's like, sorry, no. And then 2 weeks later, we have, I just want to go home. And
it's just so obvious, isn't it? It's
yeah.
obvious. You know, who is it that got that footage of Erica running out of the ballroom and like crying? And, so who took that video? And by the way, my real question is, was it one take or was it two? Did they have two of those videos? Did she have to do a second, was that like the second try? Or did she really, like, that was the first take, really? Because it seemed okay. It seemed authentic. But then we see her petting the drapes. Do you guys remember that? She's in the drapes.
Yes.
Erica.
Yeah. With actually like music in the background too.
Oh my gosh, the ethereal.
What are you wedding video that to?
Well, I thought that it looked like, how like in a wedding video they'll show like the bride beforehand, kind of behind the scenes. So what was the point of that, Erica? I truly do not
playing in the curtains. She's like your cats.
That's true. She is.
She's like Lily.
Cat, right? And so I'm like, babe, what are we doing? Do we really think that this is an effective strategy? Now, again, I have to ask myself, is she dressing like Stacy Sheridan because somebody's trying to, like, keep all eyes on her as the bad guy? Is that possible?
I just think she's full of herself. Okay. And she's like, I want to put on another wedding dress.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
I want to look angelic.
Right. Oh my God. Well, she looked lovely, but
I mean, she did look lovely. I'm not gonna lie.
Girl. But she would have looked so much more lovely curled up on the couch with her kids. And that's the thing that we're coming to, is that, like, it's kind of the lack of authenticity that's so jarring, isn't it? You can tell when someone doesn't mean it. You can just tell. You can look at them and say, this person doesn't mean what they're doing. They're not being true to themselves. And it's just, I find it so off-putting. It is like one of my biggest like pet peeves in individuals, because I'm like, I understand maybe people can be nervous, uncomfortable. These are challenging situations, blah, blah, blah. But authenticity is something that everyone can read. This is how, people really function in life. So what are we thinking? Just going out there and petting the curtains, honey? I would rather see that girl with a messy bun on her couch with her kids. Right?
I'm telling you, whenever I've seen her with her, that infamous picture with her without her makeup, like, and just her hair pulled back, you can tell that's the kind of girl she is. She's really casual. She likes yoga pants, and it's so much more relatable. She's trying to be something she's not.
Exactly. And it's like, so wait a sec. Who's telling her that the best way to handle it? So now I'm going to tell you what I would do if I'm like, Erica's not in here, is she?
Well, she is. Hey, Erica, we want you to just be yourself.
Erica, just be yourself. Erica, it's okay. Show the messy bun. Show, because the reality is, I think that, I wish I could feel okay giving her true, authentic advice, but I'm just going to try to lean in and picture that she is totally innocent in this situation. If I really thought that she was totally innocent in this situation, then what I would recommend is that she show a little bit more of her humanity in times like this. People would connect better with her if she showed the pile of laundry that happens when you lose your spouse at 31 years old. Do you know what I mean, Rio?
Yeah, absolutely.
The humanity that comes with, show the pile of laundry that comes with losing your spouse at 31 years old. Show the fact that, she did a couple of those. She did a couple of those videos where she had her children, they were in the car, blah, blah, blah. It was a little too contrived. Show the reality of, I am Erica Kirk trying to carry on the Kirk name without my husband. If she were genuine, that would be my honest PR advice. I would be like, girl, show the fact that you have not had a pedicure. Like, just show the truth. And people will still, they would have embraced her. They would have really embraced her. So that kind of, okay. So the reason I'm saying that, I wish that she was just so, authentic and innocent and pure in the situation that we could want that for her. But the reason I'm sharing that is because, guys, why is no one advising her of that?
Yeah, I don't know, because it's so counterintuitive, and honestly, I can tell she does not want to be dressed up like that all the time.
No.
I honestly, from woman to woman, regardless of whatever she got going on, she did not want to be dressed up like that all the time. I'm sorry, she's just way too more casual. And I mean, we all go through it. We all go through stuff. I mean, being a mom of young kids.
Yeah.
It's
not all, you know what? It isn't all. And then obviously losing a spouse. Oh my goodness. Like there is not a worse possible situation. So what I fail to understand continually is, why is Erica behaving more like a divorcee? Yeah. Why is she behaving more like a divorcee? And is that something that they are intentionally doing?
No, you know what? To be honest, I really don't think that she loved Charlie, because I'm telling you, like, she acts like, and this is a good segue into this last part. Mm-hmm. She acts like somebody who was married to an abusive man for 30, 40 years, and is torn between, well, man, I just lost my husband, but finally, like, I can breathe. She comes back to the office within a week and she's like, and like, I think that there are people out there who have been in that situation, but when you've only been married for 3 years, it's not normal.
It's not. Right. And that's the real concern for me at this point. They have already started to do this character assassination with Charlie, and they've started kind of soft with it. But I've noticed that in this phase 3, they have been soft pedaling the idea to us that maybe Charlie had some problems. He's human, guys. He's human. He's going to have some problems. They have been soft pedaling this little idea. Well, Charlie's not great. I mean, he's willing to lie. Didn't they try that one? Wasn't that Andrew who tried to say that Charlie was a liar in some way?
Like, well, I mean, they're already putting it out there. I mean, here we are in this last slide, and I think, like, it is exactly where they're going with this. This person is saying, the problem I have with all of TPUSA's responses is basically, you are asking us to believe that Charlie publicly defended Candace like he did so genuinely all the time. I mean, he loved her as a friend, but then behind the scenes, he was somebody totally different. Right. Like, y'all are asking us to believe that. So you are you are priming us to make that leap that he was somebody else behind the scenes. And absolutely. God bless Charlie. He's not here, but I think that's what they're going to do next.
I think you're right. I do. And that's my fear, is that, like, in this third phase, they are swinging for the fences, guys. They know that things are not going well. They are going so badly that they can literally stage an attempted thing on the president at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and nobody's even distracted at all. The people are laser focused on this. We have figured out what's going on, right? There's a problem, that there's a serious issue here, blah, blah, blah. It is taking all of the energy out of, the normal distraction patterns. And so what are they doing now all of a sudden, guys? What are they doing now? They are swinging for the fences. They brought out, there's a funny expression. I don't want to say it because it's not very kind to people who wear small hats, but they say when the person in the small hat comes out, that you've met the final boss, right? Have you guys heard that? I want to say that that's Minister Farrakhan. So anyway, what I'm saying is, they brought out Ben Shapiro. If you're bringing out Ben Shapiro, okay, if you are bringing out the number one nemesis, the final boss in all of this, then why are you doing that? Because you are in panic mode. They tried to have a fake pandemic, maybe. Not saying that hantavirus is a fake pandemic, but
they did try it. They did try it. They shut it down real quick.
They've tried multiple attempts on Trump. They've tried, guys, you guys know that the White House Correspondents' Dinner is the second one is tonight. I'm like, oh my gosh, please let Trump be safe, because, and again, just because he's our president, like, we don't want anything to happen to him, obviously. So
yeah, I think that they are headed towards, as we titled this, like a second assassination, like a character assassination on Charlie.
Exactly.
Because he's not around. And I'm so glad that Candace has those text messages that she released last night, because it just shows us how much of a liar they are about what Charlie stood for. It was in 2023, I think. Weren't those tweets from 2023?
The text between Charlie and Candace.
Yeah,
it was November of 2023. And guys, let's think about in the timeline, October 7th, that was a month after October. So they already were talking about things that were considered alternative, I guess, at the time, right? Yeah. Like they were talking about so a month after Charlie, that's something to think about, guys, is 1 month after something that they were really trying to push as a, oh my goodness thing, right? They were really, really trying to push that this horrible thing had happened. They were all innocent, blah, blah, blah. A month after that, Charlie and Candace are texting about the fact that he had questions.
Yeah. And he was saying, screw these people. And if that was in 2023 and he ends up going on the Megyn Kelly show this past August of 2025, he is suffering for 2 years of this, because by the time he goes on Megyn Kelly, he is upset. He is beside himself. This was after the Hamptons. He's done. And it had been going on for 2 years whenever Candace split. That was whenever Candace split from the Daily Wire. And he's like, he says it specifically who it is. And so he's struggling with them for 2 years. And
think about that, guys. Think about that. And so it's given me, just seeing that chat and noticing what the date was that Charlie was saying that to Candace, I thought, oh boy. I thought that Charlie had, had his awakening. I thought he had done that last year. I thought it
was closer. I feel so bad for him that he was that vocal to a best friend.
And now that
years prior.
And now I think that they're going to try to assassinate his character. I think that if they're cunning, then they will try to. Now they're going to try to paint him as he's going to be painted as anti-small hat, right? And he's going to be potentially painted as maybe he's emotionally manipulative. Maybe he was abusive to Erica behind the scenes, guys. We don't know. I'm not saying he was. That's what they're going to say.
We've discussed this privately, and we don't want to put the idea out there, but the only way Erica could get out of this is by saying, the reason why I reacted the way I did is because there was so much going on behind the scenes. I was being isolated. I, had postpartum depression. He was never home. She can say anything she wants, and there's only so much proof. When we know for a fact she was cutting off the internet at their house. Andrew Kovette was basically his handler at work. And then he had Erica handle her at home. And you know what she was doing. She was probably like, our marriage is suffering because you're never home. Not that she even cared. Right. But I could see this because he's not around. And how many people would connect with that? Like, oh my gosh, the reason you reacted this way is because you were suffering at home.
Right.
And that's even harder to come out against than a widow who's been acting the fool, is if all of her actions line up with.
If someone is willing to take a man's memory and try to manipulate his words. You guys remember, I'm sure that you guys saw on Barron the other night when Barron showed that website where there was a message from Charlie Kirk. Do you guys remember that? So he showed it just the other day. And it was like a message from Charlie Kirk, and it was on a pro Greatest Ally website. What was he doing? He was saying nothing but good and positive things consistently about the Greatest Ally.
Yeah.
Well, they are more than I appoint my wife. I'd like to appoint my wife. They are willing to actually manipulate his words and his memory in order to push the narrative that they need. And at some point, it is probably going to become, we need for Charlie to be less of a sympathetic character in the story in order to generate sympathy for Erica. I really do believe it's possible. And I hate the idea. That's why we're like, you know what? We're going to talk about this, because if people are aware of it, then when they run that story, then we are going to know, no, this is what you're doing.
Yeah. So please be on alert for that. Yes. That was really like the the pinnacle of this whole topic today was kind of like leading up to that.
Mhm.
And it feels very uncomfortable to even say that.
It
You
does.
know, but I bet we're seeing it kind of work up. Candace already called them out last night for saying, you guys are like wanting us to believe that he was somebody different and hated everybody behind the scenes. So, I mean, they're already picking it up, and they've taken advantage of that poor man. She took advantage of his body, like, you know, laying there in the casket for a photo op. I don't trust them with anything. So
it's sickening, and there's really no depth that will not be stooped to. So that's why I'm saying that, guys, like, really, it is important for us to be aware of this hypothetical like potential, because if we do see it, then we can start calling it out right away. I spend a lot of time, you guys probably know, like on Twitter and stuff, I spend a lot of time being like, this is what they're doing. This is what they're doing, because it is something that if you're paying, you know, if you're already tracking it and you're saying like, okay, this is what we're going to see, this is what we anticipate them trying, then it's nice. And then the good thing is that as you have connections with other people, you communicate with other people, they very quickly are able to kind of see that too, and you can kind of point people in that direction. But I am very worried that they are going to try to tarnish Charlie's legacy. And so I want us to be aware that if we're looking at emotional abuse as a PR strategy, that is the only place that this goes. Okay.
yeah.
Now, Miss Rio has to go and pick up some puppies. I'm so sorry, guys.
But thank you guys for having me. We hope to do this again. And yeah, y'all have a great weekend. And I love you very much. Go follow me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Guys, make sure that you definitely take the chance to go ahead and add Miss Rio, because she's just getting started in her YouTube career, but she has, you know, she has a lot to say, and she has she's a smart woman, and she's got some good ideas. So definitely go and follow her. I did want to make sure that we had the time to read through super chats, and also, like, you know, that we answer any questions or anything like that. Honestly, guys, I'm worried about it. I'll tell you, I'm worried about it. I am, because I do not think that there is any depth that they will not stoop to. That is my genuine impression of these people at this point. I'm like finding my glasses, sorry. So I genuinely think that at this point, I am concerned. I am very, very, very concerned that this is going to be the next step in the playbook. And realistically, what we do not know at this point is if they've realized it too. Does that make sense? I'm not sure that they, you know, have fully realized the only places that this can go is really downhill. Do you know what I mean? I'm worried about it, guys. I really, really am. And I think that people that are willing to tarnish someone's legacy, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I do not like it, and I'm really, really worried about it. I'm worried about it for Charlie and his legacy, and I'm also worried about it just for the way that we take the conversation with him. I do believe that Ben is one of the final bosses. That, not, you know, I'm not saying as far as like actual culpability, but I'm saying as far as a distraction technique. I really do believe that that is something that he is being brought out now as part of this third wave, right? So what I've been doing is I like have been making my, you guys know we love a list. I've been making my little list of like, okay, so, you know, Tyler Boyer, okay, he went from playing the victim to being silent, which is a good decision from a PR perspective. And that tells me that Tyler Boyer probably has some sway with the way that everything is being addressed. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Then when it comes to Jeremy, he went from silent to moralizing. I don't know if that really was a great strategy, guys. I really don't know if it was, but I think it's one he chose, and that tells me that Jeremy probably does have some power and influence over the way that this goes. So that's like what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to kind of like make my little list of players and see like who's in charge. You know, it's something that I've been asking people. I have been asking people so much about who's controlling who's in charge of what. Now, we know that there's some real big bosses, people like Stacy Sheridan and people like Tyler Boyer. But, you know, do you know how long it took me to really decide if I thought that Erica was controlling Andrew or Andrew was controlling Erica? And I'll tell you guys, sometimes I still am like, am I sure? Am I totally sure? I think that ultimately they're both willing to do it to each other. I think that ultimately they're both willing to toss each other under the bus, you know, just depending. But it's still really, really hard to know what the right answer is. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So let's see here. Oh, I'm just looking at the chat, making sure everything's fine. Is everything fine, you guys? Everybody's good? Oh, Pets. Yes. So yes, Miss Rio has 2 puppies and I have 2 kitties at the moment. I am, on the inside, I think I'm a both person. I don't know. I just don't happen to have a dog right now, but because my last pepperoni passed away. But I have cats. One of them thinks that she's a dog. She's the one who, of course, is going to be in all the photos, guys, because she thinks that she's a dog. She's the golden retriever of cats. Her name is Lily. That was who Rio was talking about. So anyway, what I wanted to do was I did want to come on and answer questions. I wanted to read through super chats because you guys literally send me the best questions ever. And also reiterate that my email is AnnaEscobarShow@gmail.com. AnnaEscobarShow@gmail.com. I love getting tips from you guys. They're so good. I saw Alex's yesterday. The girl, she was in the chat. Was it yesterday? Oh my gosh, was it actually yesterday? Okay. Time's flying. That's fine. Guys, I was so deep in the data for the past couple days that I literally sat there and I was like, I'm looking through all of this flight stuff and everything like that. And I'm like, I got to run pretty soon here because I think I am going to be talking to Stu in a little bit on his show. So if you guys do have Rumble or anything like that, I'm like, I have not figured out yet how to stream. I have not figured out yet how to stream onto here if I'm on his show. I don't actually know. We'll get there, but not today. But yeah, I think that we are going to be talking about some stuff because there's just so much going on. But again, as they are in the third phase, the third wave, I do think that ultimately the person who they are planning to send to the bus is Charlie and his memory. I'm very worried about it. I don't like it one bit. And I get the feeling that when that happens, yeah, he's not here to defend himself. Now, I know, of course, that Candace will. And so will all of us. But I worry because, that's why in particular with Erica, I worry about the idea of that because she could say, oh, I know him in a way that other people don't. And he at home, he was mean or something, right? And ultimately, that would probably, certainly if people weren't paying attention, but that is why I thought it was so important to be like, we should think about if that is a strategy that they might utilize. And if they do utilize that strategy, we should be aware that that's what they're doing because there's been no evidence of that, right? There's been absolutely no evidence of that. So, okay, let's see here. Let me go ahead and take a peek at the supers. Hang on. Okay. So, thank you so much for becoming a member. Yay, Keith. Hi. I'm so glad that you're a member. Okay. I thought you already were. Just kidding. But I'm so glad you're here. Hey, Rachel. I'm so glad you became a YouTube member. I love it. I love our community. It is so good. And thank you guys for being so welcoming to, having different people come and chat with us. I'm really excited. I'm going to try to talk Stu to coming on this show. Do you think he would? What do you think he would? Should I ask him? I'm just going to ask just because it would be so fun. I love having conversations with him. He's so on top of things. And so I'm like, I would love that. But then again, he would probably be like, no, that's okay. Fingers crossed. You got to ask, I guess. I don't know. And Jeannie, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for modding for me. Oh, thank you guys for modding for me. I just figured out how to request that. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for doing that. It means everything to me. So. Oh, hi, Lo. Hey, girl. Ladies, you're doing amazing work. Keep it up and go, Max. Anna, don't let anyone change you. You're absolutely adorable inside and out. Sending love from a Gen X Mima of 6. Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so, this Mima, obviously, this is a wonderful Mima that we love and adore. This Miss Lori here. No relation to our, to our bad girl, Mima. That's a very, very, very different vibe. Thank you so much for saying that. You are adorable. So is your dog, and I love you. And I really appreciate you. I really, really mean that. Genuinely. Thank you so much, your heart. I don't know exactly. I've heard that jewels and flowers and all that stuff is just a way to say thank you to the channel and everything like that. your guys' support means literally everything. My biggest dream is to be able to have this be something that is part of my life as a full-time thing, because I do think that it is going to take all of us to solve this thing with Charlie. And I have absolute confidence and faith that we are going to. I truly believe that. I truly do. Now, as far as finding, ways to have accountability for individuals, obviously I don't have any power over that. But if we are able to identify and able to actually come across what happened and really feel as though we have solved this, my intention is then we're on to the next one, because this kind of stuff has been happening for a very long time. Our country has been subverted. Even just a few years ago, we had Butler, we had the Las Vegas tragedy, all of those things. It's stuff that I think that we as a collective, now that we're really developing this, what do we call it? The Candace investigation, you know what I mean? Like, now that people are really so dialed into this and to solving a lot of these mysteries, working together so that we're actually able to come up with the answers to this stuff because we work with each other. Oh my gosh. So I'm like, that's my big dream. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. It means everything to me. And even like liking and subscribing, all that stuff. Guys, if you haven't liked the video, I struggle very much with self-promotion, but I received good advice that said, you should ask people, because asking people to support you is a good thing. I'm struggling with that, guys. You can tell I'm I'm not good at that one. I'm not good at that one. I got to work on that. That's okay. That's okay. Because you know what? You know why? It is too important, the work that we're doing, to let anything stop you. That's how I get through that kind of stuff. It makes me stressed out. Okay. Thank you. All Day Coach, hi. Thank you for all you do, and your work and dedication to the truth is so appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, All Day Coach. I appreciate you for saying that. Yes. Yep. The truth is what we have to find. And again, that's just what I was saying. It's too important. It is too important. We do not have a choice. So we soldier on, and that's what we're going to do. Always. Thank you so much, Dawn. That's so kind. I appreciate you. I'm like, we don't know what it means. We will figure out what it means at some point. But I know it's a way to say thank you. So thank you for doing that. Manda Panda, thank you so much, sweetheart. I appreciate you so much. Also, that's so cute. I love Manda Panda. That was the name of one of my best friends in 7th grade. And I always smile when I see that name. She was a sweetie pie. She is a sweetie pie still. I just haven't talked to her in a very long time, but I think she's good. So I'm like, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, Nikki, I appreciate you so much. And I love all of your comments. Oh my gosh. I love getting to know all of you guys and know your comments and the stuff that you guys talk about. And this is such an awesome community. So it's super cool. Oh, hi. Another name that I know. Hi, Tinfoil. Yay. We love Tinfoil. We love both of our Tinfoils. We have Tinfoil Mama, and then we have Tinfoil Ryan. I'm like, guys, is there any relation? You two know each other? Just kidding. We're all in the Tinfoil family here, and that's okay. Yay. I'm glad that you're with us, Nikki. I love it. Oh, hey, speaking of Ryan, hello. Glad you're digging into all these people. They did Charlie wrong, and the world knows more every day with you adding to everything Baron and Candace are doing. Thank you for searching for truth. Thank you so much, Ryan. That means everything to me. As you guys know, I try to think of my little show as a little research addendum to the work that they are doing. Now, I know that they have so much going on and they are under no obligation to follow along with the stuff that I'm seeing, but I really, really want, more than anything, for the community that I get to be a part of with you guys to be the most informed and forward thinking, and, to feel like we almost have a little bit of like a cheat code in how all of this is working, because we talk to each other, because we have each other. And so therefore, it's almost like a little bit of like a little cheat code. It's like, okay, so that makes sense. And then we can come here and talk about stuff that we have questions about, and we can, get all up to speed with every single thing that's going on. I love that. That makes me super happy. And then I'm like, I don't know, in my mind, I think, oh my goodness, I would love to even just be able to help with this thing. That's what I care about. It's like, just imagine if we are able to actually make progress. That's my thrill and my dream. Hi, Critter. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for gifting a membership. That's so sweet. Oh, yay, I love it. I'm like, yay, who's in here now? Sajida, am I saying that right? I hope I am. I hope that you will tell me in chat if I'm saying that correctly, because it's a beautiful, awesome name, Sajida. I think I'm saying it right. Guys, You know how the deal is. You know that they say about people that read a lot of words, but then sometimes they can't pronounce things properly. Well, here we are. Thank you so much, Critter. Love you. We will continue to ask questions always. And yes, I do think that it's really important to talk about some of the psychological, manipulation tactics that are in all of this stuff because, oh my goodness, Andrew Kovette, sir, we can see right through you. Oh my gosh. No matter how good the spray tan is, Andrew, we can still see right through you. Okay. Okay, tinfoil. Oh, see, I told you, tinfoil. There's another tinfoil. Okay, this is the Mrs. Tinfoil. Not that there's any relation. I'm not saying that, but I also don't know that there's not. Well, Ryan, tinfoil mama. Ryan was the guy from just a second ago. Okay, so I have a theory that they made him do Ben invitation as a last test. Ooh, see if he'd push back about the ally or like he was told. And when he didn't, 9-10 was a go. That is a good theory. Okay, so you think that it was a last test. Okay. Well, you remember the face Ben made. Do you remember that? Do you guys remember that when Ben was like, yeah. What was it that he was, I'm like, I gotta switch back. Tinfoil, amazing comment. Let's keep talking about that. Let me switch back over the chat because I feel like you guys are probably saying stuff that is about it. Okay, hold on a second. I'm like I don't know how people can read their chat at the same time. There's so many things going on. Okay, it's fine. They're putting in horrible AI pictures of Erica. That is crazy. Ian Carroll has a mustache. I like it. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I love Ian Carroll. He is like one of the best truth tellers. I just think he is so earnest and honest, and he has a curious mind, right? And I just, oh my gosh. I always think to myself, who are the people that you feel like you can trust in their authenticity and in their search for truth and in their willingness to engage with a diversity of ideas and really, really try to be thoughtful about the way that they conduct themselves and think stuff through. And when I think of that person, I think of Ian Carroll. That's just my feeling about it. So, I'm not totally sure when it comes to Candace's. Oh, hold on. I'm like, I should put these comments on the screen if I'm talking about stuff, huh? Candace not responsible for divorces, but man, do I see the changing of how people thought things through versus today. That's a really good point. And it's really unfortunate, isn't it? It's just so unfortunate. I mean, I think, like Tinfoil was saying, it is very, very possible that there were some last tests in the end there. It's the sort of thing that I'm going to have to, it's worth keeping in the back of our minds. Is it possible that he could have done anything differently to change the outcome of September 10th? I don't know. I do not know the answer to that. I wish I did. I really wish I did. Oh, hold on a second. Someone is saying yes to Nacy, but she has a job. I don't know what we're. Hi, Nash. I saw you see my name on there. I was like, oh, am I missing something? I hope I'm not. Okay. So, that's the thing. We do not ultimately know right now if there's anything he could have done differently. What can we do in that situation? Was there anything that he could have done differently? I am glad, ultimately, that he got to look Ben in the eye and tell him, I have these questions. I'm glad he got that look out of Ben, that shocked look. I'm glad he got to shock Ben. I'm glad. I'm not sure how many opportunities he had to do that. I mean, honestly, we all knew that Ben was on the midget horse and that he was like an evil eyebrow. Like, we all knew that. I hate the fact that Ben may have been on the phone. It makes me sick to my stomach. I can't even think about it, to be honest with you. I cannot even think about that. It makes me just sick to my stomach. But I like to, when I think about Charlie and Ben, I like to think about Charlie making Ben shocked out of his mind. And I'm glad he got that one in. Does that make sense? I'm glad he got the opportunity to do that. So, yeah, Ben, that's the hard part for me is I don't know if Ben had any actual culpability in this. I don't know that they bring him out. I don't know. Could be that he just had an awareness. Jury's still out. And I do think that for myself anyway, I want to think more, especially over the weekend. Guys, I'm going to come back on Monday. We're going to come back on Monday because I need research time. Hello. I have to go through 3 years of aircraft data, obviously. So that's what we're going to be spending the weekend doing. But when I do, I wanted to kind of map out some stuff that has kind of been, I've been thinking about. And so a lot of the reason why I wanted us to talk about all the stuff that, this DARVO and the ways that these folks are conducting themselves is because I do want to start to try to chip away at the idea of, do we have kind of an idea of who our folks are that we think may have some power in this structure? Does that make sense? We should start to think about who are the people that had a say, because when we're thinking about the different levels of culpability, there's the people that had an awareness, there's the people who have direct involvement, there's the people who have indirect involvement, there's the people who are supportive of the cleanup, there's the people who were only involved in the planning, and then of course there's the operational crew who would have been involved that day. So just so you guys know, that's like my little web. That's one of the little projects that I've been working on. I also think that I wanted to research more into Candace's, the guy that she found that was with Ben. That was crazy, right? Who from Chabad Luba? There's a Chabad Luba guy? I wasn't expecting to see that. I was like, B'nai B'rith? Like, because, I spend a lot of time thinking about that sort of stuff. I do think that exploring the geopolitical intricacies and influences, it's relevant to this case. And actually, we're going to have some stuff, because I do think that there is actual indications beyond what just, I know Joe Kent said that he thought that there was these, 12 cell phones from our greatest ally, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I found something that makes me think that that's true. Now, that being said, that he's correct. But I want to be able to research it, because the problem is, as soon as I start talking about stuff, guys, what do? They keep deleting it. So I'm like, I got to make sure that we, actually get all the data that we possibly need to get before we go public with it. You guys understand. You see what we're talking about. I've loved hanging out with you guys, and I'm out of water, so I'm out of time. You know the deal. Okay, I love you guys. Have so much fun this weekend. Did Baron already go today? I'm like, can someone tell me? Yes, and back it. Hello, let me always. Just so you guys know, I always back up like every piece of data that I have. I have it saved in multiple places, and I also send it to folks who have much larger platforms than I do. Gotta outthink them. Come on. Okay, so everybody, let's go and get waters, because it's 90 degrees in here. So I'll see you guys soon, and I love you guys lots. Okay, bye.